Hello, microphone check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hello, microphone check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello, mic check, mic check. Hello, mic check 1 2. Mic check, mic check.
Hello, mic check 1 2 1 2.
Hello, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Are you live?
Yes, we are live.
Yes, we are live. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Sheridan Media Live on YouTube and Facebook. And welcome to our World Cup edition. And today is the finals of the World Cup in Australia, and we have England playing against Spain. Well, I want to say welcome to everybody joining us this morning, and also want to say welcome and have a happy Sunday. As today's Sunday, we are having England knocking heads with Spain for two countries not going for the first time. I think England has been to the World Cup final before. No, I'm not too sure. But anyway, Spain is going to the World Cup final for the first time in their history, and Spain has been performing extremely well during these tournaments. But today, I'm not going to be doing a one-man show. I've got my colleague who is going to join me today to talk about female football and especially the World Cup as we are looking up to this particular game. As you can see, I'm in my full red gear. Does it necessarily mean I'm supporting England? Definitely not. But it also means I will be supporting Spain. I'm saying it loud and clear right now because I think for sure I'm going to support Spain. As the ball has been crossed over, but I'm going to introduce my colleague who's going to join us today, who is Desmond. Desmond, say hello to viewers and tell them exactly what you think about the World Cup so far on the play within the past 4 weeks.
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon, viewers. And I'm Desmond. It's good being here again after a while. I think so far the World Cup has been very entertaining, very exciting. Looking at the growth around female football, especially with countries who are developed and are able to spend money around, giving women the opportunity to actually play. So it's been one of the best World Cup to actually look at, especially since it started in 1991. So if you look at the rapid development, the dynamism around it, this has actually stand up to be one of the best. And especially if you look what is happening around, you have now female managers coming in to manage the game, and all of them have a history of being denied not to play the game and being called names because they want to play football. And today they are now leading their teams to a historical moment like this. So it's been wonderful looking at the representation of Africa as well. You know, we've come that far. Nigeria has been the only team in Africa who've gone as far as doing what they know best in doing, and seeing what's happened in Australia and New Zealand, the teams that represented Africa there, it tells you that we are really on the driving seat, but we just need to keep ticking the boxes correctly, and then we'll get there. We want to be with these bigger nations as well.
All right,
All right, thank you very much, Desmond, for that. And I believe strongly that the game has to be played in such a way that both continents have to prove themselves. As we've seen so far, England and Spain are both in Europe, and we've got all the African teams who are out. So, what will be your prediction for today's game? As you've been following the World Cup just like I have, do you think Spain has the quality to defeat England at this crucial time of their first appearance in the World Cup final?
I do believe they have the quality and then they have what it takes to win this particular tournament. Because if you go back to their league, back home, their leagues they're playing, I think they have more audience compared to the English league. You could remember looking their club performance in the Champions League as well. And when Real Madrid and Barcelona are playing, it's no different like when you have the men playing against the men. That's Real Madrid and Barcelona. So in Spain as well, when the ladies are playing, it's the same. And they are also working around the DNA of Barcelona, which has become the Spain DNA. And this is a DNA started by Johan Cruyff during his early days when he started coaching after retiring from football. So it has now become a household identity for football in Spain. So right from youth level to senior level, they all play the same. So that confidence alone, England, of course, they have the maturity. They have a very good manager as well. England had a very good league as well, and then they have good talented players. But to play a dynamic team like Spain, I think it's going to be a very tough one for England.
I totally agree with you because Spain has just been on the attack so far and they've nearly scored a goal against England. And I think this Spanish team is going to be definitely remarkable to stand the times of what England can deliver. England is ranked number 4 right now, and I think so far they've got some star players who are playing on the first team lineup, and we've seen a huge amount of controversy between the two nations. Controversy in terms of representation. We were always saying representation, identity means a lot in the world, and during the Euros, for the men's game, we were talking about that's a miss by England. Of course, it's on target by their star player. And Desmond, you should feel free to come in at any time if there's anything that you think is exciting on your side, because this game is going to be a very interesting one. Like I said earlier on, Spain have been in control within the past 2 minutes, but I think England has taken over and they are knocking it around as much as they can. But what we're going to see today is a brilliant share of skills, resilience, and enthusiasm by both sides. I know it's not going to be easy, as everybody is looking forward to this final. England has never won the World Cup. Spain is going to the World Cup for the first time with one of their star players who has remarkably done so well within the past tournaments, and her name is Salma.
Desmond, what do you think of Salma?
Desmond, what do you think of Salma so far?
Well, she has been very phenomenal. She has brought actually herself to the center stage, and she has taken everything by storm. And these are players who are not.
This goes all the way.
They are not assuming. They are players who are not assuming. They know what they are doing. They know when to make the right decision. They know when to improvise. So that's why you see her really, really living up to expectation and being the driver for the Spanish team as well. It's a very first moment in this particular World Cup, but I do believe they're going to surprise England in the opening minute from what I see at the moment. And again, female football has its own dynamic, has its own style. They are all like playing possession. They hardly go that aggressively, but once in a while, they tend to launch out some heavy attacks on each other, but it dies down and then it goes again to the typical possession of female football, which is good. I'm not condemning it, but sometimes you also want to see that one-on-one, 1v1, where it has to be with the physical nature. But here it's more of technique, tactical, and system in place, But it's good anyway so far. The Spanish team is on the ascent again, and a cross coming in. receive there. They're still pushing forward. Oh, yeah, it's out of play. I think so far it's going to be well organized because system between both two of the sides. England will take their time, Spain will take their time, but it's going to be the team that wants it best will win. So if you are ready to take the risks at the end of the day, you're the team that is going to win this final. Yeah.
Well,
Well, I think it's also nice to see James on the bench, which I think is a surprise because if she hadn't had that too much ban within the game against Nigeria, possibly she could have been starting the first team lineup for this particular tournament. As the final is just 7 minutes of the first half, and we're still waiting to see who is going to take their first chances by scoring the goal. Like I was talking about Salma earlier on, she has proven herself to be part of the team, and she has been determined. She didn't just start playing football just like that. She came from a footballing family, and her mother is from Equatorial Guinea, and her dad is from Spain. So they've lived in Equatorial Guinea since birth, and they decided to move over to Spain because of medical reason of one of her siblings. But again, like I said, she has been performing extremely well, and she has proved to the world why she should be in this Spanish team lineup. She's not just a first team player for the senior level, but she has won a couple of tournaments, World Cup tournaments on the 17 and on the 20 stages. So basically, she worked her way up to the first team, and she has given them 2 chances to go into the semi-finals for the first time, and also given them the chance to go to the World Cup final for the first time as well. As a striker, she has been scoring goals, and she has been making herself very welcome in this particular World Cup, as she's not taking any chances to score. So far, like you said, the 2 teams are going to be playing possibly equal share of football, but I think with the sense of fair play, I think Spain will have that at the bottom of at the top of the game right now, because they've been in total control. As you mentioned, you haven't been able to see one-on-one or 1v1 in certain situations, but I think the game has changed so far. We've seen a couple of 1v1 and 1v3 or 4, and those players have made it right across to score prolific goals, as we have seen Linda for Colombia, who has been in a 1v1 situation several times, and one of the best goals of the tournament was scored in a 1v3 situation by herself. So we've seen remarkable skills by this female football right now, and I think what we are going to be seeing after this one is the fact that female football has now taken the forefront. As much as we are looking forward to the men's game, but the female game has also improved in such a way that I think people will be spending their money now to go and watch. So what do you think about the improvement of the game so far, Desmond?
Well, for me, the improvement of the game is massive. But let me tell you, the game have not improved without the work of people who are doing the advocacy. You know, there is a group which is called FIPRO. I think they've been working behind the scene, trying to push FIFA and everybody that is involved in female football to see that female players get the dignity they deserve when playing this game. So even at club level, at national level, again, you know, the American team as well, after winning the World Cup, their campaign of equal share of pay between men and female in America, it has actually sparked a conversation, a debate around the whole world. And even within the football governance structure now, you see the football governance structure are taking it very serious to see that they address all these issues. You know, leading to this particular tournament, a lot of the bigger teams really came up strong, asking for their bonuses, their wages. And a lot of the bigger nations listened to them, like England, they did the same. They asked for their bonuses and wages. It was a huge conversation, but they had to put it on the side just to focus on the tournament. And at the end of the day, I know it's a conversation that is going to continue as well. You know, with all this advocacy and everything that is going around, it tells that we're making headway. And for me, I'm happy to see the dynamism, the changes, the rapid development, people accepting the fact that, you know what, it needs to change. Change has to come because if change is there, then we have other nations, other continents across the world also taking responsibility. For Africa, we are still struggling, and then the change will not just be within the European context, but we should also see the Africans taking it very, very serious, investing in the league back home, having structural league for female clubs within Africa that can develop their players, that can give Africa that edge when they go to major tournaments like this, you know. So the changes that have actually come into female football are something that all of us should celebrate for, and also all of us should just continue the advocacy to see that the female game reach where it should be, there at the top of the pyramid.
Spain is now on the attack, as she said earlier. When we have 2v2, they are now in the box. Salma is going to make a cross, and the cross is saved and kicked away by the English defender. So far, the game has been equal because England just had an attack just now, and Spain did a counter on that English attack that was so much close to a goal. And the goalkeeper made a save for that. And we're yet to see the first goal being scored so far. I want to say thank you to Prince Jamira for working all the way from the southern part of Africa. That's my Zambia friend, because definitely Zambia was my best African team, even though they've lost in the first round, but I think their performance was great. Well done, Zambia, and well done, Prince. Thank you very much for joining us. And Adama is also online as well. So we are definitely going to see a lot of what is going to happen on this match so far. As Salma is on the ball now, what is Salma going to do? Pass it on to the number 2 player, who is going to take it right into the 18-yard box and kicks out for a corner kick to Spain. I think this game is going to be not a one-sided game, but I think it's going to be an equal match. And like I said earlier, well, we're going to see skills, enthusiasm, and resilience. Definitely, Salma is going to be the star player for this particular match, and I think the reason why is because she's been scoring goals and nobody have been able to stop her so far, and she has scored crucial goals that have taken her country to where they are right now at the final of the Female World Cup. Now, let's talk a little bit about Sierra Leone football. I know Sierra Leone football has come a long way. Female football has come a long way, and we are now looking at what are the possibilities of Sierra Leone female football to grow. We have the first female league, and I know you've been following that league as much as you have. I haven't been able to so far, but tell us about the female league in Sierra Leone, because I know your involvement has been great with female football in Sierra Leone as well.
Well, there are a lot of changes, just like we say what is happening at the World Cup. Just a couple of months ago, we had the first. What we mean first is the official female Premier League that ever played in the country. Female football has been playing in the past, but it's not really that compared to what actually happened recently. And
England is attacking, they've just missed. Sorry, that's all. Go ahead.
So what we mean by saying the first ever female Premier League played is because of the structure.
England have just hit the post again, twice. This game is going to be an open out-and-out play this one.
Yeah.
I know you're watching, but you're not saying what. I'm getting carried away. I'm used to this now. Sorry. Over to you once more, sir.
So we had the change coming in to see the girls play the very first Premier League, and the nature of the league itself was good. The organization, though playing facility was a challenge as well, and then some of the venues, and also the men also accepting, communities accepting, and yes, it's time to celebrate female football in Sierra Leone. It's time to give girls the opportunity so they can actually play freely, devoid of any pressure or any intimidation. But you know, everything you need, you have a start. So this is a right time for us, and I do believe this was a starting point. Now, what we are all looking at or asking questions for is for us to see the continuity of the league. You know, we're hearing that it might start in September, but from what I see, I've not seen any preparation from the teams. I've not seen that kind of media engagement to show that, oh yes, September we're going to start, because that's where we start getting it right. If we have them playing week in and week out in their clubs and the league up and running across the country, then you give them time to develop properly. And when it comes to national side, proper selection is made, you're going to see the performance they're going to give. And quite recently,
Oh no!
That's a
That's
charm.
a charm.
That's a clear,
That's a
clear
clear
out and out
out
chance
and
by
out chance
Spain. I
by
don't know how to miss
Spain.
that
I
in
don't
the
know how to
16
miss that in the
box.
16
Sorry,
box.
Desmond. Go ahead.
Sorry, there's one. Go ahead, sir, once more.
so quite recently, we have one of the teams that won the league in Sierra Leone, Mobemo Queen. They were in Liberia playing the qualifiers for the African Women Champions League. And then for me, I do applaud them. The performance there was wonderful. Very first international experience for some of these girls who are just playing within their communities, going to Liberia, putting up a very good fight like that. You see there are a few areas where they struggled. And for me, those areas, I count them to be coaching problem as well, because the coaches should be understanding, should be able to know better in a way that they can give the girls what is needed for competitions like this. So, but we've been making the right step as well. And this year alone, we had our girls participate in various tournaments across Africa. They were in Cape Verde for Waffle, where they played for like 6 or 7 matches, and they did not win anyone, but their performance as well, participating in these tournaments, it gives also a yardstick for them to develop, because this is what we lack home. The guys can be training, but you don't have any competition going on. And we have people who've actually put their money around and supporting girls. There's this guy called Mahmoud, former owner of FC Mahmoud, who've now merged with FC Calon. He has single-handedly kept female football up and running in Sierra Leone for years, just by himself. And he has been doing a very wonderful job across Sierra Leone, giving girls opportunity with the support from late Max Macaulay and other few friends in the state. They've been able to send few Sierra Leonean girls to the state to study and also play football there. And he has actually been at the center of seeing female football reaching the stages reaching in Sierra Leone. Though it's not easy for him, there's been a lot of attack, a lot of fight, people pushing him there and there. And even when it comes to put people on the board who really know around, who really have the knowledge or who be spending their time, he's actually left out when it comes to something like that. But again, everybody's saying women empowerment. We saw for the very first time a board being constituted of female, headed by a former manager of Radio Democracy. I believe she's now in Australia with the female representative from the Sierra Leone Football Association and the FA president as well, watching the match. For me, I just want to know what are they going to learn from this competition? What will be their engagement with stakeholders around there, and how can they bring what they've had there from their engagement back home and see that our league and the girls benefit from it? Because sometimes this is where we get it wrong as well. Our engagement with people who are really, really setting the pace is limited. So because of that, we are not really going out of our comfort zone. We just do things to please people or please others who are putting pressure that these things needs to change within the society. But to be candid, there is a lot that we need to do in Sierra Leone. I follow the Nigerian lady who was talking about her experience in playing football. Most of the reason why most of them choose to go along with ladies is because in their society they say to them, when you play football as a woman, you will not give birth. They were called all kind of names, so it's deprived them of enjoying that sexual orientation which they could have enjoyed during their own days. And so she said it's one of the reasons why you find more women are going more for women and women, especially when it comes to the female football game. But now they realize that, okay, it should not be a taboo. You see around the world, women are giving birth to children. They are coming back to sport. For tennis, you see Serena Williams. You saw now Karolina Wozniacki. You saw Angelina Razwanska. All these top champions, they've all given birth, and now they're coming back to the sport as well. You see, quite recently, Naomi Osaka as well. She has given birth. She's now working behind the scene to return back to tennis. So in football as well, we've also seen the same, where the women now believe, okay, I can have a family and then come back and play the game. Should not be a taboo. So these are the kind of changes that is coming. And in Sierra Leone as well, we see that coming into play. Some of these guys, like the captain for Mokbe Queen, she's a mother of two and had an husband. But in those days, it was quite impossible for you to come from that remote area, your husband allowing you to go play football. They say, oh, you're going to be like a man, you're going to challenge me. But we're getting there. We just need to continue the education, the engagement. I do believe we'll reach the stage where we see the likes of England and Spain performing at the World Cup. Mind you, some of our guys, they played with Oshoala playing for Nigeria in qualifiers a couple of years ago. But because of structures now, Oshoala is playing in the Spanish league, while few of our guys who played with are back home playing in our own league, or most of them, they quit the game because of bad management, bad administration, bad way they are treated in the game. But we're not giving up. I do believe there's hope for the girls in Sierra Leone, especially Africa as a whole. We'll get there.
Well, I totally
Well,
agree with
I
you.
totally agree with you at
What
some
I
point. But what I also have my own bone of
is the
contention
fact
on
that now
is the
you
fact
said
that now you said
the
the
chairwoman of the
chairwoman
female
of the
board is
female
in
board
Australia.
is in
So
Australia.
to me,
So to
these are
me,
only
these are
facilities
only
that they
facilities
enjoy
that they enjoy
because they
because they
want
want
to
to
have
have
it,
those
and the
facilities,
girls who
and
are
the
supposed to
girls
be
who are
getting those
supposed to be getting those
facilities are not actually
facilities
there.
are not actually
Because to
there.
me, if you
Because to
take
me,
the
if you
players
take the
to go
players
to this kind
to
of
go to
level of
this kind of
competition to
level
the
of
highest
competition
team,
to the
I
highest
think you'll
team,
be able to
I
give
think
them
you'll
the
be able to give
encouragement
them
that they
the
deserve.
encouragement that they
But
deserve.
allowing the
But
match
allowing
officials
the
who
match
are always
officials
the
who are always
beneficiaries
the
in some of the
beneficiaries in
aspects
some
of
of the
football in Sierra
aspects of
Leone
football in
is
Sierra Leone is
definitely
being
something that
definitely something that
we
one
should
don't
look
want
into.
to
As
look
we've just
into.
had a pitch
As we've just had a
invader,
pitch
and the
invader,
camera crew are
and the
trying
camera
very
crew
hard
are
not to
trying
show
very
us
hard
that
not to show
particular
us that
scene at all.
particular
They
scene
don't
at
want us to
all
see
because they don't want us
anything apart
to
from
see what is happening on the
focusing
pitch
on the
apart
game.
from
I think this is a
focusing
new
on the
idea
game.
of not
I think this
giving
is a new idea of not
pitch
giving
invaders any
pitch
international
invaders
audience.
any
So
international
what
audience. So
happens to that pitch
basically,
invader?
what
The
happens to that
camera
pitch
crew
invader?
did
The
not pay no
camera crew
attention to
did not
him,
pay no
and
attention to him, and
we
were
were
not
not
able
able
to
to
see
see
that
that on
particular
screen.
incident
But
at
what
all
I
on
was saying
screen.
earlier on
But
is
what
the
I
fact
was saying
that
earlier on is
yes,
the
we
fact
have
that
all this
yes, we have all this
big household
big
name
household name
representing the country
representing
when
the
it comes to
country when it
international
comes to international
representation, and
representation,
the players
and the
don't
players
have
themselves don't have
none of those
none of those
facilities. Because I
facilities.
don't see
Because I don't
any
see
reason
any
why
reason
you can
why
have
you
match
can have match
officials, yes,
officials,
traveling
yes,
to
traveling
the World
to
Cup,
the World
which
Cup,
is just what I
which is
think
just what I think
always
they
take
always
advantage
take
over,
advantage over,
as in showing
as
up
in
at
showing
big
up at
events,
big
and then they are
events and they
representing
are
Sierra Leone.
representing
Yes,
Sierra
of course
Leone.
they
Yes,
will
of
be
course they
there,
will be
but
there.
at the same
But
time,
at the same time,
what are they going to
what are they
benefit
going to
from?
benefit? Like you said,
What are the
what
lessons
are
that
the
they are
lessons
going to
that they are
learn?
going to learn?
And if they are
And
not
if they are
passionate
not
about the game,
passionate
because to
about
be
the game,
passionate
because to
about
be
the game
passionate about the
is not
game
just about
is not just
saying
about
things
saying things
or
or
representing. It's
representing.
what you
It's
do
what you do
behind the scene.
behind the
It's
scene.
what you do
It's
when
what
there
you
is
do
no
when there
money.
is no
It's
money.
what you do
It's
when
what
you don't
you
have
do
the
when you don't have the
facilities to travel.
facilities to
It's what
travel.
you do
It's what you
when
do
we are at
when
the
we are at the
crippling stage.
crippling stage.
That is what
That
I
is what
believe
I believe
that people can do
that
when
people
they
can
have
do when
passion
they have
about certain
passion
things that
about
they are
certain
doing.
things that they're doing.
I mean, take for
I
example
mean,
what
take
we
for
are doing
example
right
what
now.
we were doing
We are
right
not
now.
being
We
paid.
are not
We
being
don't
paid.
have no
We don't have
access.
no
We don't
access.
have
We
no
don't have no
facilities
facilities
that
that
can
can
give
give
us
us
access to
access
the
to
national team
the
or even
national
some of
team
the
or even
players
some
that
of
we
the
have in
players that
Sierra
we
Leone.
have in Sierra
But we are
Leone.
still pushing
But
the
we are
game
still pushing the
because at
game.
the end of the day,
Because at the end of
we
the
are
day,
passionate
we
about
are
this,
passionate
and we
about
don't get
this,
any
and we don't get
financial
any
reward
financial reward or anything
whatsoever. And the
whatsoever.
ones who
And the
are in
ones
the
who
front
are in
line
the front
that are
line
getting all
that
the
are getting all
financial
the
reward
financial
are the
reward
ones
are
not
the ones
just
not
doing
just doing
anything
anything
until they've
until
been asked to
they've
do
been
so,
asked to do so,
provided there is
provided
money
there is
involved.
money
Like
involved.
you said,
Like
the
you said,
Premier
the
League is
Premier
over,
League is
but we
over,
yet to
but we
see
yet to see
any media
any
coverage
media
to showcase
coverage to
whether
showcase
it is
whether
going to
it is
be
going to
kicking off
be
back again
kicking
in
off back
September
again
or
in
not.
September or not.
So as far
So
as we are
as far as
concerned,
we are
there
concerned,
is not going to
there
be
is
any
not going to
female
be any
Premier League
female
this season,
Premier League this season
because if the league
because
hasn't
if the league
started
hasn't
yet, and
started
then we
yet,
still
and
have
then we still
one
have
of the
one of the
champions, Mabima
champions,
Queens,
Mabima
who
Queens, who
possibly are
possibly
already
are
out of the
already
knockout
out of the
stages
knockout stages
of the
of the
African Games
African
tournament.
Games
It
tournaments.
means
It
we're not going to go
means we're not
anywhere.
going to go
We're going
anywhere.
to go back
We're
to
going to go
square
back to
one
square
and
one
start all over
and start
again with
all
the
over
struggle.
again with the
But we
struggle.
are yet
But we are
seeing
yet seeing
all these match
all these
officials
match officials nations flying to Australia to go and watch the finals of the female World Cup.
Yeah, but
What are they going to bring back home? How is it going to benefit us?
This is also what baffles me sometimes. Sierra Leone would have been Sierra Leone was supposed to play against Ivory Coast in qualifiers for the Olympic competition that is taking place 2024 in Paris. At the dying minute, we withdrew from the tournament, citing money and monetary problems. And these are the competitions where these young girls that have just participated in this tournament, in this league, would have had the opportunity of going to showcase themselves, playing with bigger nations who are well organized and structured than us. And then at the dying minute, you say you're not going because you don't have money. But when it comes to the main game, and when it comes to delegation traveling to go watch finals like this, money are allocated for this. I do understand it's FIFA that is providing this money for these people that are coming in, but also FIFA also provide money for female football development. So why is our own money going? Why is it not being used the right way? And also the central government as well. I know if it was the male team, now we're going to play Equatorial Guinea in our last qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations, that we have no hope of doing anything, whether we go to play for pride or not. But they've assembled a 30-man squad to start practice by September 19th. And then we have a female team who should have gone to Ivory Coast to play. Maybe they will qualify for Olympic 2024. We deprive them of that opportunity. But now we're able to assemble a team to go play Equatorial Guinea, where we have no hope of qualifying or no hope of fighting for pride. Why not give the opportunity to these young guys who are just coming from the back of a league that was very challenging for them, to go select the very best of the best, let them go and perform in this competition, learn from the participation.
Yes, Spain has scored the first goal of the tournament so far. The captain has scored the first goal of the 28 minutes of the first half.
I think your deportation is on the way.
No,
They're going to sign your ticket.
I totally disagree with you.
They're going to sign your ticket now. You need to come back home. How can you be in England and shouting that Spain has scored?
The only reason I'm supporting Spain is because of Salma. It's very impressive to see a nation that is not that much color inclusive, to be honest to you, and you have a black player, an out-and-out black player who is a striker for the team. It is very unique. But for as far as I know, England is full of colored players in the Premier League, and we are yet to see a full dark-skinned player representing the nation. I don't know why, but the only player that we have right now representing England is a mixed race Qatar, who is a wingback, and we have James, of course, again another mixed race player who is also on the bench. Not possibly going to take any part in this finals. I'm not too sure yet, but we've seen earlier on. So Spain is leading by 1-0, and we are yet to see an upset, like I said earlier on. So I need to work on my scoreboard list. Desmond.
Yeah. No, you know,
just in the first goal of the tournament.
Yeah.
And it is a remarkable goal. I know we're talking about the expectations of the national team and what we are going to possibly look forward to what is going to happen. But at this particular point in time, what are some of the basic importance of why we should be representing? Because to go to play for Equatorial Guinea, it makes no sense to me. Well, you have to participate to complete the tournament games. At the same time, you also have to look at the possibility of not sending a representation for the Olympic qualifier, which I think is a sad thing, based on the fact that there is no money. If they actually seek interest of the game, they will have used that money for the girls to go and participate. Maybe they will have been able to qualify for the Olympic Games, but they are now setting up a 30-man squad for training, and that is where they're going to spend all the money, and they will complain there is no money. So what do you think should happen for the game to be respected in Sierra Leone by the authorities who are responsible for the female game?
I think we should just have that dynamism flowing from both sides. If we're giving 100% to the men, we should also give 100% to the women. If we're giving 100% attention, we should also give to the women as well. Because to be candid, you cannot withdraw from a youth competition. And our approach is really killing the opportunities for these girls. These tournaments are where they go see these young girls and then club will buy them. But if they are not participating when they are 18, 19, when do you expect them to go participate in major tournaments? When they are 30, when they are 28, they are they're at the stage where they only have few years in the game. The moment they are to be signed within age 19 and 20 gives them long lifespan in the game. You don't put them at the center stage. You bring them when they're already at the age to say, okay, you know what? I'm just here to kill time because it's coming to an end. And this is where we're getting it wrong as well. We really, really need to change our approach if we really want to see our girls at the center stage, because having them being signed by club through this competition will give Sierra Leone also a recognition. Let's say we have one of our girls signed playing for Real Madrid or playing in the Bundesliga, the Bundes Female League, or playing in the French League. That name alone and on the score sheet for the club every weekend, that's also recognition, because every weekend or so you have a player who you might be thinking to go watch, or you might be running to go sit behind the TV to watch with the hope that that player will put the ball at the back of the net and her name will be all over social media, all media coverages, all media houses. And it puts Sierra Leone, but we're not thinking that. We're just thinking, okay, you know what? Oh, they are women, we don't care, we don't have money. Oh, we don't have money, we don't. But for the men, you can provide shitload of money for them to go and perform, and then they come back, there's no result, and everybody's happy, you know. So we have a way. I think we need to find a way. I do believe we need to find a way and succeed. Now that we have a new minister of sports, a female, let's hope that there will be that dynamism that we want to see. Though she's yet to address the media, and a lot of people have been trying to reach her. She do receive messages. She's not responding. She's not saying anything, either replying to people. But we hope to see how best we can engage her and let us know what is her plan as well, because she has been around the sports world for quite a very long time. She's very educated and very outspoken lady, very intelligent, you know. So we want to see what she can bring to the table. What's her plan to really bring that dynamism that we are missing in our sport? Because previous ministers that we have Paul Kamara who came, he was focusing on male football, male football, and then we have Ahmed who came, he focused on volleyball, and then we have Nyalenke who came, his focus was only on the male, on the male side again, and the women still struggled. Now we have a female minister. Let's see what she's going to do. But for me, I want to see that dynamism where we have the Sierra Leone Premier League for male up and running, the one for female up and running, and then we have the youth competitions as well up and running at amateur, at grassroots, at elite level. We have all this going at the same time, and then we can see the development of the players. Then we can be able to select from pool of players that are playing in these leagues. But if we just limit ourselves to national selection and investing on the men and not looking at, because over years we have so many professionals outside here in the West who really want to go back and represent Sierra Leone. These are female playing in top leagues across the world. You go to USA, we have so many of them playing the American system of football there, which has to do with college football, and they are doing very well. In England as well, you have some of them playing in the English league, some of them playing the youth English league as well. They've all showed interest of going to represent Sierra Leone, but they cannot come home because there's no structure around the youth category. So like from the 17 to under 23 up to national, there is no structure there. So women, the ladies are sort of being deprived or left out because these competitions are not there and they are not given opportunity to go there, and they want to represent their country. So we also need to look at this end as well and see how best we could start scouting outside Sierra Leone for these girls who are from Sierra Leonean families to come back and represent their country. You know, that will also bring a boost to the national team. But everything seems to be new. A new president into his third term now, into his third year in office, a new minister, a new female board. A lot of things are changing. So let's hope and see that things changes from what they are doing. We had a female rep as well who she's keen about developing the game. She had a female team in bowl, But for me, my concern around her is her approach, how she addressed issues that are coming up around the females. And a lot of them believe by just giving money or because you have money makes you to be the right person to run the game in Sierra Leone. We need to move past that. We really need to look at people who are educated, who are eloquent, who can really bring something on the table, not because of their money. We want people that can bring ideas, ideas that can generate money, ideas that we can talk to corporate institutions outside Sierra Leone that will be willing to come and invest in our country in the sport. These are the kind of people we look for, not people that, oh, because they have money or they have connection one way or the other, but their connection is not bringing what we need for the game to develop for the girls. Like what we're seeing now, this girl who's playing for Spain from Equatorial Guinea. Let's say the opportunity was not given to her in Spain to play in the league from the youth category up to where she finds herself in the national side, then we'll not be knowing that she exists today. So this is also something we need as well.
I totally agree with you
I
on that.
totally agree with you on that. But I think my concern is not just on what you've highlighted, but the concern is also the interest and the way how these people have been selected or appointed to serve in those various capacities. Like you said, the current minister is intelligent, educated, and possibly knowledgeable. But just like you highlighted, you're not the first person who is complaining that so many emails or requests have been sent out to her for her to be able to engage the media. But failing to engage the media means what? It means a sense of possibly arrogance. You don't really care. You don't want to talk to no one. You've just been appointed. All you want to do is just focus on do your work. What work are you doing if you're not going to be answerable to the people who you're working for?
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So basically, you are the new minister of sport. Nobody knows about you.
Nobody knows about what you
Nobody knows about what you do, your background, your records of what you've done in the past. Nobody knows. And when you call them to inquire about getting information for what you might want to use as something that is tangible, you're not making yourself accessible. So the sense of civilized and knowledgeable experience and possibly have the potential or possibly capable of delivering in that particular position means nothing to me because you haven't engaged the audience at all. You haven't engaged the media. You haven't been able to talk to people. Nobody knows what your plans are. Nobody knows what you intend to do. Nobody knows how you're going to execute your duties as the new Minister of Sports. Taking into consideration, there's a lot of stuff that you have to do. There's a lot of engagement that you have to make. Being a woman makes no difference because at the end of the day, if you are a woman, everybody's expecting something great coming from you, and you haven't been able to engage the media. Your appointment is now almost 2-3 months coming, and nobody knows what's happening with civil football. Nobody knows what's happening with the FIFA. Nobody knows what's happening with where we are. Basically, she has gone back again into the same old routine of getting players who are going to be representing Sierra Leone play against Equatorial Guinea in a match that doesn't mean anything. If she was that focused and engaged in the female game, she could have made a decision to say, hold on a sec. We don't have nothing to gain from this particular match. We don't need to even go with international players. Can we just focus on home base? And we train home base, and then we use that money to actually allow the female team to go and represent in possibly the next Olympics. So these are some of the concerns. And also, again, the money-making mechanism is them stopping international players to come in and represent by them using home-based players, and then they take their percentage out of this home-based players. Nobody can tell me any different, because the only person that can tell me any different is the person that is going to change that dynamics and look into the diaspora. Now, if you look at the Nigerian national team, most of the players are playing abroad. Most of them were not born in Nigeria. They just have Nigerian parents. So basically, what they have seen is the proud representation, identity. And again, if you lost that identity of yours when you're early, you cannot get it when you're old. So we're yet to see the identity of England just missed a goal. The ball came right across the 6-yard box and saved by the Spanish defender. The flag was up for offside position, and we've just seen another attack by the English. Okay. Desmond, what I was saying is simple but challenging. These people have to be ready to deliver. They are not doing us any favor. They are not giving us any opportunity because they are looking after us. No, we are looking after them, and they should be able to come to us and say whatever they want to say that will be of benefit to the people of Sierra Leone. So to have a new minister of sports means nothing because nothing has changed. We still haven't been able to engage her. That's one.
Some people might say, "Oh, it's too early to be on," and well, for me, I do believe it's not too early. I do believe it's just how it is. If you come to office, we've seen the Minister of Communication and what is he, civic education, engaging media houses. There was a meeting he held with the one of the biggest bodies in Sierra Leone, that is the SLAJ. All representations were there, and then we've seen other minister of gender, Aisata Mohai. We've seen her also engage the fourth estate as well. She was on AYV talking about her plans, her appointments, and everything. But for the Ministry of Sport, we've only been reading one-sided news coming from somebody who is very close to her, and writing stuff. But at the end of the day, the minister herself has not been able to express herself to the public so that we can critique what she had to say to us, and then we can ask her what's her roadmap plan for the development of sport in Sierra Leone. What dynamism is she going to bring in the sport? But again, it's, for me, all I see is that same old way of doing things. Every association coming, paying a courtesy visit, or you have the handball, or you have the football, or you have this, paying a courtesy visit to the minister to go affirm themselves. Oh, we're here. We want you to know that we exist. I do believe we should move past that now. We should be looking at, okay, how can we all come to the table, get an engagement with all the disciplines and all the heads and say, okay, I'm here, I'm new to the seats, but I've been around the sport, I'm not a novice. I've come to change the dynamics, things. Now, let's sit and draw a roadmap of our approach and what we want to achieve in our country. And I do believe also our approach should not be thinking of looking at outside. We should be thinking of building first inside. If we're able to build inside, able to have programs that are up and running within the country, then going outside would be easier for us because already we had something out to take to the outside world. But if we're able to build out and then we want to just go outside there and let the world know we're here for them to see us, then we'll be going there to show our nakedness. So this is also a concern. But so far, like I said, the Female World Cup final has been very exciting. And like I said, the team who wants it most is the one that is going to win, and that's the team who is ready to take the risks. But for the moment now, I think the Spanish team has actually gone back to the system, the tiki-taka system, hitting the ball at a very convenient pace, just relaxing, trying to create the angle to connect the passes while the English team is really pushing that hard to see if they can get the equalizer. So it's all exciting as it keeps going. They're approaching halftime now, but for me, it has been very entertaining, and you've seen now a lot of physical attack as well, which shows that the game is becoming more dynamic.
Did you get to be the second goal?
Yeah. No. Oh.
That's one. We've just going now into the 1 minute extra time being added to this match, but I just want to make something clear to my brother, Mr. Alusan Conte, that says, Tibo, you're always on the losing side. No, I am supporting Spain today because of Salma. So take that back. But definitely, as you said, Salma just missed a close encounter, and he goes all the way wide to the goal post. Anyway, that's the last chance of the game so far. I was a very close shot, and it hits the bar. He hits the goal post, and he goes for a goal kick. Yes, just side, 19 by the bar. And we've now finished the first half of the competition so far, and Spain is leading by 1 goal to nil. and we are yet to see the second half to start anytime soon, as we are taking a big break. Scored by the captain, number 19, and she looks very much relaxed, and she's now heading to the changing room for a team talk. So far, so good. Spain has been in control. England has had a couple of chances, but one of the reasons why I don't want England to win for sure, because of the noise that they're going to create. Like, yes, we did it with somebody, we did it without any black players included in the team, and we can do it. So trust to them, let them go home and do whatever they want to do. I totally disagree with that, because the game is about inclusiveness, which means there are huge amounts of colored players in the Premier League, and we yet to see any full-blown representation. I heard a couple of days ago that this coach is coming from a nation that is extremely racist. I'm not saying she is, but that's just what I was told. And of course, we all know where she's from, and we all know their response to people of color all over the world. But anyway, if we focus a little bit more on the Sierra Leone female football, as I have Desmond here with me today, talking about Sierra Leone female football and also female World Cup and the representation of the other African countries that has been participating. So, Desmond, as we have Prince watching right now, what would be your take on the Zambian national team? Even though they were the first African country to go out of the tournament, what do you think about their performance? Because to me, so far, after the WAFCON, I think they had the best team in Africa. But their performance in the World Cup wasn't that great because of the 2 losses that they had. But their final match was great. But they're missing a couple of players that I didn't see in their team lineup. So I don't know whether it was based on injury or something else might have happened. So what do you think about their performance so far, and how will you rate the rest of the other African teams that we are representing?
Well, performance of Zambian team was, for me, it was not bad. At least they managed to win a game before bowing out of the tournament. But the major problem we had leading to this tournament was this row around money, row around bonuses. You know, in Africa, especially in sport, everybody think that people in sport are doing favor to their country. So in a way, every administrator just think, oh, you guys in sport, you are doing your country favor. Just come in and play. Don't complain. Don't ask any question. It's your country. You should be paid. You should be patriotic to your country. But on the other hand, these people, we all have life to live. We all have families to take care of. We all have bills to pay. And at the end of the day, if you go there, your leg is broken or so, and if there's no system to take care of you, that's the end of your own career. So at the end of the day, money collected from services like this is what people take to maintain their families, to maintain themselves, and keep their sport going. So this was a huge challenge leading to the tournament. The girls actually voiced out their concern around their bonuses, and it was a huge challenge with the FA and everybody around football. Complaints were being made, and journalists went to investigate the stories, and the issue of sexual harassment, issue of intimidation were also reported around the national team and around the footballing structure there. So this led to a kind of mixed feeling within the camp. The players were not in the same mood they were supposed to be, and the number one goalkeeper got injured, and at the end of the day, she was not in goal. The second choice goalkeeper was there. So it was a camp full of determined girls who really want to go out there and give their best. But you know, the mental side, that mental toughness that we do talk about in the game, was lacking as well. But you see that last game when they put their heads together, their performance. So it just tells you, if that mental toughness would have been there for the very first match, they prepared themselves well, it have not happened the way it happened. But again, it's their first experience going back home. It's, for me, it boils down to what I said earlier. Can we invest back home? Can we invest in our leagues instead of just looking at outside? If we invest, having them to play properly, proper league, proper structured matches, proper organized events, and then you can have them to play at the center stage where they will not be afraid to give their best when they meet these bigger nations that are more organized. Of course, we saw South Africa as well. They also have the same problem as well. political interference and money-wise, and then the captain, one of the best goalkeepers in Africa and in the African Nations Cup, raised her concern about money and everything. It becomes to something where she had to be put on the bench. They said, oh, she was not fit, she's suffering, she has injury, and at the end of the day, she could not participate in any of the tournaments because of her concern around money. So that was a huge challenge as well. We saw also Nigeria as well. Nigeria came into the tournament with high expectation as the leading African nation, which has that vibe. They've been there, they have the experience, and they did very well. They lost to England and penalty shootout, but the other matches they did very well. They did hold on their nerves to reach to that stage. And then for me, my surprise was Morocco. I'm surprised at their performance. One, because they're new into the tournament, but then the development and the level they are in, I'm not surprised. If you look at what is happening in Morocco, when you look at their league, the structure of female football, the kind of development that is taking. They hosted the African Cup of Nations, which you witnessed as well. You were there for the very first time. You saw the performance of the ladies, and you were like you are mind blown about how dynamic they were and how the level of organization and how the fight they put in reaching that final, losing to South Africa. So they actually showed that they have it in them and they had the drive in the World Cup stage as well. So it tells you if we do things the right way, we'll definitely get our teams to go out there, not just participate, but put the bigger nations under some kind of stress that they will be worried about. Like for England, we saw what Nigeria did to them, holding them up to a penalty shootout. It was like, wow, it's possible that we can do it. A team rank 49 in the world, going there to play England, who are the pyramid of decision making around female football, and it was just amazing. And to be candid, our African administrators that are running the game really, really, really need to be honest with themselves and ask themselves questions about what are they doing in the game, what are their priorities. Their priority need to shift this time. Like we say, sometimes you need to shift the goalposts. Let's stop focusing more on the men and give the opportunity to the women. FIFA is spending huge money. FIFA is giving them huge money for female football development, and FIFA had already set the blueprint from U15 up to a national team. That's what this money is being provided for. But some of them are not using it properly, and we don't have proper structural leagues in these countries. So how are the girls going to be more attractive to play football? Of course, South Africa is doing well. Zambia is also doing well. East Africa, in terms of female football, they're doing very well. When it comes to West Africa, we're a little bit struggling as well. And Ghana is doing well. Nigeria, we've seen quite recently, Liberia has also taken the lead by really putting structures in place for female football, right from the U12 to U15, having their leagues playing around the whole region in Liberia. Ghana, of course, they have a very formidable female league up and running. They've also now investing time in the junior category side. And we have Gambia, who've also taken the lead quite recently as well, having their female league up and running, having all categories, try to see, and also training of coaches as well. This is also something very unique as well, because when you provide the environment and then you provide people with the right knowledge, right attitude, then you are able to build dynamic players who are not just able to kick the ball, but who are also intellectually intelligent. They will be able to express themselves, because everything about the game is about reading. If you're not that intellectually inclined, you will not be able to read what happened next when your opponent has the ball. So in Africa, sometimes we just think it's your physical nature that gives you advantage of playing the game. No, it's not about your physical nature anymore. It's about your level of intelligence, because I do say to some people sometimes that we sport people are mathematicians. And somebody asked me why. I said, because we are mathematicians, because in a split of 1 second, we're receiving the ball using all parts of our body. Where within people, where you think to do what we want to do is impossible, but yet still we're able to put those combinations together and maneuver and then do something that sparked up the light and the stadium. So that's how mathematically inclined we are. But that educative side is also what we need to look at. How can we educate them? How can we empower them? It's not just about going to put the cones, the run around. It's knowing at 30 minutes, what do you need to do? At 45 minutes, you are leading 2-0. What do you need to do? How do you kill the time in the game? What kind of possession, what kind of system do you play? Because all the systems revolves around interpretation and understanding the principles of using them. So there's a lot that we need to do, really, really, in making the female football to reach. And again, female players need to be independent. They need to have voice on their own. They need to have the environment where they can say things they want to say, devoid of people checking them. They need to dress the way they want to dress. We don't need to attach them to tradition and our beliefs. No, because like in Europe, you don't just talk to a woman or a lady like that, because right from age 12, they're working, getting money, saving money. 18, they're at university, they're working, getting job money. So they're able to get an apartment, they're able to get a car. So you don't just go around and throw words at them because you think, okay, I'm the man, I have all what it takes to talk. No. If you say you're giving 50 euro, they're also able to give 50 euro. You say you're buying an Audi, they're also able to buy an Audi. You say you're able to prioritize your choices, they're also able to prioritize their choices. But in Africa, this struggle is still there for who takes everything. And we see most of the times we the men are saying, oh, we take everything. But for me, I do believe we should not be taking everything. We should create that leverage now where we come to the table, we discuss, and then we look at the ladies that we have around our sport, what they are bringing. We have brilliant, brilliant girls in the sport these days. Some of them who educated themselves, some of them who are still in school. But that leverage for them to really, really, really contribute to society is what is not available at the moment.
All right, thank you very much, Desmond, for
Thank you
that
very much, Desmond, for
great
that
knowledge of
great
talking
knowledge
about
of
the female
talking about
game and
the female game and summarizing the African representation and also what can make a difference in the civilian game. As we can, like I said earlier on, James is warming up. Definitely, she's going to be introducing this match, and I think they have to use her because they don't have any choice. But I think one of the greatest surprise that I saw so far is the fact that for the Zambian team, this is going for Prince, is Grace Chanda, who was totally absent from the squad, and I'm not really sure whether it was based on anything that I'll have to find out about a little bit more. I mean, Grace has been one of the star players during the WAFCOM, and we did not see Brenda at all in that WAFCOM. I don't know whether she was still waiting for her permission to participate in international tournaments, but if she was there to represent. So the Zambian team has its own controversy, and we've seen the reason why Grace has been one of the greatest players from the Gambian female football side. But Barbara also is also a star, and she proved her intelligence, and she was capable enough to take part in this World Cup, and she performed extremely well by scoring a couple of goals. But I think between the two, I prefer Grace that much because Grace to me is very skillful, very well composed, steady-minded player, and she's also determined to win things.
But that is just about the
Zambian team, and I wish them all the best as they return home safely, and definitely they're going to be proving their worth in the Southern Hemisphere. As we all know, they are the champions of the COSAFA League tournament, which is mostly organized every year within the sub-region. So there's a lot for them to experience and to gain and to learn from, as they are going to be well prepared, and this is the first time. And for a nation to win a game in the tournament for the first time of the Female World Cup, I think that is a remarkable achievement for them. They've done well, but like you said earlier on, if these countries are not able to come together and participate, it is going to be a huge challenge. And we've just been joined by Mukhtar Ibrahim Nuhu, who is watching from Africa, from Nigeria, Kebbi States. Definitely welcome to you guys for your hard time that you're giving to us this morning. As we've just kicked off the second half of the match, and we are now yet to see Spain attacking from the right to my left. And this is going to be, no, not now. It's just the beginning, and we're not going to see anything that is going to change the game so far, as we now have England trailing by 1-0 to Spain, who are in the finals of the World Cup for the first time in their history of female football. They've gone not close to even a quarterfinals all these years, and this is the first time that they've been into the semi-finals and the final of the female World Cup, as we are now seeing them leading against England 1-0. England are just about to start the attack as they normally used to do, and we've seen Spain showing their excellence in ball control, in ball passing, in the confidence that they had. The triangles, the V1V situations has been very much in their favor. They've attacked well, they're not in any hurry at all. They've been able to possess the ball in their half, as we have Salma now on the ball, who is actually an athlete as well. Salma has a great record in athleticism because what she has done over the past couple of years, from the teenage stage, she has broken records. She has been one of the youngest athletes to perform in a world championship, and she won a medal. And she has won a couple of medals in her previous tournaments at the junior stage of her professionalism. And she has done extremely well also when she introduces herself into football, and she became one of the first youngest player who has played in various serious tournaments, and that was what actually took her into the first team of the national squad. Again, I will not say she's the first black player to represent Spain in female football, but I think what we've seen so far, she has been the most renowned black player, as she now holds the ball and she's attacking 1v1. Is she going to take a chance? She knocks it over to the right-hand flank and going to be crossed by the wing back of Spain, and they're knocking it around, like I said, very comfortably without no hesitation. I don't know whether James is on now. Yes, I think James is on. She's now a wing back. The number 7 player who was red carded against Nigeria is now on as possibly one of the best players so far in the game. That was the projection that we've had, and she has proven it, and I believe so, because she's very much relaxed as a player. And she now defending. We have now 2 of the colored representation of the England national squad, James and Carter, and both of them are playing almost at the same position. One is a wing back, and one is a wing back defender, and one is an attacking wing back. So 7 and 3, and this is very much interesting. No, 11 and 3, but one of them is wearing the number 7 jersey.
What do you think about
what do you think about James' introduction to the match? I know 7 and 3. See, I'm not talking to this guy, and he's responding to me. So, Desmond, what do you think about James's introduction to the match so far? Do you think they have used her definitely to make a change in terms of their scoring chances, as Spain is now attacking once more? Now they've lost it. As England is defending, England lose it again in their 18-yard box, and they are now fighting to defend that cross. If the cross is going to happen, it's a short one, and it goes back into the hands of the Spain midfielders, and they are knocking it around for another try for a cross. And we've seen what set pieces have done in this tournament so far. As Spain is now in control in the 18-yard box of the English defense. Is this going to be a second goal? Saved by the goalkeeper. That was a brilliant save by the goalkeeper. And the ball goes out for a corner kick in favor of Spain. This is going to be an interesting second half, as we are now going towards the first 5 or 10 minutes, first 5 minutes of the second half. And we've just seen a nice, brilliant save by the English goalkeeper. And whenever the Spanish are on the ball, it is becoming a huge challenge for the English defenders to be able to defend it well. And that is what we've seen so far in this tournament. We are yet to see any more goals coming in, but for sure, we're going to take this corner kick very close to the 6-yard box and kick it away again for another corner kick towards Spain, as Spain is now leading by 1-0, as we await the second corner kick that is to be taken of this first half, as we've just played 5 minutes of the first half gone, of the second half gone, sorry. The corner is going to be taken by Spain again once more. We have like 5 players in the box. It's a close one, and it goes out for a goal kick in favor of Spain. So Desmond, I was saying earlier on, what do you think about the introduction of James into this second half? Do you think he's going to make any change, or do you think England is ready to attack as much as they can by making this immediate change before the start of the second half?
Well, I don't see that working. I think it's just a game plan change. No matter what happened, she needs to come in because they've missed her in the semi-final. But if you look, England are not yet on the ascending side because they are still playing with a full defense, having a five player there, and you see them sitting more deep in defense. So tells you James coming in, I don't think he's going to change everything until they go to the 3 defense, and then it tells you that, okay, James coming in might bring a kind of dynamism up front where they want to push deep into the half of Spain. But again, knowing how the Spanish team is very dangerous, so you see the English are still holding on to their four-man defense, and with the deep holding midfielder sitting there always just in front of the defender as well. So it's a kind of the same orthodox way they play, relying on waiting for that moment where they'll send a long pass and then see what can happen. But to be candid, it's not forthcoming. You see now the Spanish team is really giving everything physically now. This is what I mean. The game is becoming more competitive now and more compact, that you see more physical challenge. Everybody's pushing hard. So it tells you it's changing. And in scenarios like this, you cannot just get the flow you want by just introducing a player, because the player is coming at a moment when all the other players who are there have played for, like, let me say, 50 minutes. So that player needs to warm properly to get into the rhythm. It needs to be, and then see if she can contribute. But she's a very good player, and then since she came, she has been more on the ball. And I see now England have gone to what I was talking about, the three-man defense. They're now moving up. You see more players really within the 18 cycle. So it tells you they really want to get an equalizer. But to be candid, they also should be careful doing that. This Spanish team is a very dangerous team. They are good at pinpoint crosses that can really hurt England, and then they are also good at keeping the possession. So it's a bit getting interesting. Let's just wait and see what's going to happen. 90 minutes is what determines the result. Spain can be leading, and we saw what happened against Australia. At 9 minutes, the English team got that wonderful goal that sends them to the final. So you never know. Maybe at 91 minutes, it could happen, or before that, Spain could get a goal. But the dynamism of the game is changing now. Spain is not sitting deep anymore. They are also moving fast and trying to keep the ball. But it's all going on well. Like I said, the English side have moved to a three-man wall, or they moved to a 3 defense position, where you now see them having more midfielders and up front as well. Oh, that's a miss. That's a miss there. And they've been getting the passes right as well. I've seen little of the coach from the church line, just observing the game, pondering on what changes that needs to be made to actually inspire that kind of zip that she's looking for within the team. But so far, the Spanish team is a very technical team that is very difficult to play.
That's for sure.
I know for sure the Spanish team is very much technical in ability, and they have huge amount of confidence on the ball, more than the English. But I think the English game has always been proven as a physical game, and also less skills. But this team has a huge amount of skillful players, and players that have potential to actually hurt you on the counter. But definitely they're not going to rely on the counter because they need to attack out and outly so that they'll be able to make a difference.
Help just pick up a yellow card there, and she has been all high. Hamper, so just pick up a yellow card there. She has been all over the place. She has really tried to be more aggressive, and now it has earned her a yellow card. So that's also something England is going to be very, very be careful about, because
the game is going to be aggressive so far, and I think the aggression is going to come definitely from the England side because they are desperate. So everything that they want right now is winning every loose ball and making sure that they do extremely well in counter, and they have to build the attack from scratch. But the Spanish team has been very difficult to break, and this is a team that has the potential to score goals, even though they can also conceive goals, but they haven't conceived many goals in this tournament as far as I know. So basically, it is not a team that you can score goals against that easily. As you now see, the goalkeeper is coming all the way from 18-yard box, and she's now building the attack from the scratch. So basically, what we've seen so far, you don't have to be careless. And the Spinners have been extremely cautious, but they've made a couple of mistakes and errors, and they don't want to rely on those mistakes and errors as the ball is being thrown all the way to Salma, who falls down. And Salma has the potential to cover a wide spectrum of the pitch because of her ability in athleticism. She was a 400-meter hurdle runner, so she can actually cover a huge amount of the pitch, even with or without the ball. Now James is on the ball as James is calling for support. The reason why I like James as a player is the fact that she's very composed, technical, and skillful. As England just lost that, they just had a cross right into the 18-yard box of Spain and missed by, that's a very great skill by the Spain number 17, who just flips the ball over the head of the oncoming England defender. England is now building their attack again as they are now chasing this game. 57 minutes of the match being played so far, and we've seen a cross all the way to the corner flank and attacked by the Spain defender and kicks it out for a throw to England. England is slowly building their attack, and they're coming on as if they are going to have a goal soon, but I hope and pray they don't have one. I want this game to be in favor of Spain, just because of one player who has made it possible for this particular team to be in the final. If we didn't have that record as a player who actually made her team to go into the final of the World Cup for the first time in the history of female football, then we would have been seeing something totally different.
But again,
that is one thing about other.
If you see what is happening, I think, like I said earlier on, England has actually switched to a 3 defense, and it
3-5-2.
Yes, it gives James ample time to just be roaming around, and now you see she's right at the top there, doing moves like what you see the likes of Ronaldinho, JJ Okocha doing. You know, she's everywhere. She's like picking the ball, give me, I give you, give me, I give you. She's like teasing the Spain defense and also the midfield. So I do believe that was a tactical change. So, and because she's good at the ball, she's able to read, and she's really, really getting more of the ball now. So I do believe the English side want to build around her, which is why they are letting her to really have a movement,
like a free play.
Yeah, free play across the pitch like that. But again, let's hope they did not pick up another yellow card to force the bench to make a substitution that will really affect the dynamism that is on there now.
You know? Kev is definitely going to receive another yellow card on this match. Otherwise, she's going to be sent out. We don't want that to happen right now. But that was a cross that just hit the goalpost, and it was not looked at very carefully by the Spanish goalkeeper. So what we've seen so far, Spain is making a change. I believe they're going to introduce a midfielder, and they are taking out a striker, hopefully or likely. And this midfielder is going to sit at the midfield and possibly make it more difficult and even more challenging for England to be able to break through. Well, we're yet to see what is going to be the quality of this player that have just been introduced into the 60th minute of the match being played so far. And we are still watching England trailing by 1-0 against Spain in the final of the Female World Cup 2023 in Australia. Australia has been very much unlucky to be the host nation, and they've been out of the tournament against England, who knocked them out 2-1. Was it? No, 3-1. And we are now seeing England struggling to score a goal against Spain, who has been very much defending well and also attacking well as well. And we are now looking at the England defender trying to do everything possible to clear the ball out of their own half. The ball is in the half of the Spainers, and they've lost it to England. That is knocking the ball around with confidence. Won by Salma, and now V3. What is going to be the outcome of these ones? Spain going to hold on to it? Yes, they do. And Spain is not in any hurry. Is she going to take a chance? Yes! Over the goal post. That was a slight miss. Definitely. Like you said earlier on there, Spain is not going to be sitting back at all. They're going to do the counter, which is going to put England on their back feet. And as you can tell, James hasn't been able to be around the ball so comfortably as she can be, as she's now on the ball and she passes it on to the wing back who is looking for her again. I think that wing back is Qatar. Qatar has done well so far in her defense, and she's been able to now bump forward with James alongside her. So this has been the James and Qatar combination, and James is so brilliant in making those crosses without even thinking twice or looking. That's the brilliance of her, and she just has to be a little bit more composed in her decision in terms of her getting aggressive when she doesn't need to. But she's a very skillful, talented, and mindful player that has a full judgment of the game without even looking. She knows what to do, when to pass that ball, and where the ball is going to go. Her decision making on the pitch is extremely good, and she is definitely one of the best players of the England squad. I'm not saying this because she's black, but I've only seen her 3 times during the World Cup, and the goal that she scored was out of nothing. Composed, calculated, and relaxed in that decision making of what she has done so far.
But it's not only on the English side. Even with the Chelsea where she plays, she's actually one of the standing players in that team as well.
Okay.
I've seen in the Champions League, she has been at the center of every action with Chelsea team, looking at the stars they had there as well. So I think she's just bringing that kind of vibe that she has in the team there, Chelsea. That's what she's bringing to the English team as well. And you see her quality, like you say, you can compare the quality to the likes of Ronaldinho, JJ Okocha, just those small churches, people who have that confidence of calling for the ball, not really thinking who is on their shoulder and who is not there, but they just believe, let me just have the ball within my feet, I'll be able to do something with it. So it's good as well. But again, like I say, so Spanish just made a change, and then they brought in Hernandez. She's also a very experienced player as well. So up front, you see they're more concentrating on the midfield now. Everything, if you look the defense pattern now, there are like 6 defenders for the Spanish team. The midfield is wide open because they are playing the ball more to the side of the pitch, allowing the incoming players from the flank to also come and serve as midfield.
Are we possibly going to see a VAR decision on a handball against England? Yes.
Yeah, well,
VAR possible penalty check. Desmond, I know VAR has been controversial within this tournament. What's your take on VAR? When it is in your favor, you're happy, isn't it?
Well, and for me, since the introduction of this VAR, I just believe the flow of the game has been taken out. You know, sometimes the argument builds around those decisions that we, the fans and spectators, are seeing. So, and even with the VAR, the coach or the lines or the referee had to deny, and they had to come with everything to check every detail of it. And sometimes as well, the human angle, they need to look at the body language, assess, oh, the person was in action or the intention shows that this is the reason why it should be checked. But for me, I miss that flow. I miss that flow that the game used to have. Although yes, it was also I'm not good because some goals were scored. We saw what happened, but we cannot change the decision. And now
Yep.
VAR coming in,
The VAR
everybody.
check is going to be possible. It's likely going to be a penalty.
Yeah,
It is a
everybody
penalty, and
think
Penalty, and then it seems like it will be over for England. But definitely, let's wait and see what the referee's decision is going to be.
nerves are boiling there. Nerves are boiling there. A lot of discussion, lot of discrepancy there. So it's oh my goodness.
so what do you think from your
So, what do
opinion?
you think from your own opinion? Do you think it's a penalty or it's just a ball to the hand?
Well,
Because you can see the English player stretching her hands out, so definitely it looks like a deliberate block.
it's just what I was saying. That's where the body language comes in. They're going to look at that body language and then analyze it. Say, okay, the intention, the language, the body language shows the arm was moving. So, which means if it was moving, the intention was there to touch the ball. So, it depends to the center man in VAR. But for me, I cannot. If I was at the center, there I'll make a decision, but I'm not there. So my decision now will not influence whatever is going to happen there. But it's sad to see that a game coming up to this dispute where you have a fourth official by VAR having to make the final decision. So, and all the people there, who are they arguing with? They're arguing with the people who are putting the pieces behind the PC together, because there is a machine that analyzes the data, but this data is being worked by the people who are sitting behind the competition. It's not just a raw data that is giving answer to. So it's for me, it takes the flow of the game. Now look at how many minutes they will be waiting, and the referee needs to use our own human instinct to make that final decision.
So what is he going to say now? We're waiting for his our comments.
Yeah, she'll be arguing with the machine, with everybody behind the machine.
Penalty.
Yeah,
it's a penalty.
That's what I mean. So she has her own decision, and the people behind the machine, the screen, will also be saying to her, "Oh well, you have your own instinct judgment to make, but mind you, look at what we're putting before you. You can analyze it yourself." So the pressure is coming from all angles. You know, that's why I said the dynamic flow of the game.
From all angles, but we are now about to see the penalty shoots going to be taken by the Spanish player, as you have the English defender who is actually coming over to confuse the penalty kicker. And you have three Spanish players who rush back. Like, get off the way. It's got nothing to do with you. Well, it is a sad situation to see England possibly conceding a penalty at this time of the match. And what is he doing again? What she's actually creating problems with the penalty kick. And the number 10 is a very composed player, and definitely she is going to make sure that she puts the ball in the right position. And what I've seen so far in this game is the fact that you only need a couple of inches of the ball to be on the right spot, either for a corner kick, or goal kick, or any kick that is going to be taken on the line. There is not much of you saying it has to be on the line itself, full blown. Now the penalty is going to be taken by Spain, the number 10 player, who is anxiously waiting to make the score goal line 2-0 in favor of Spain, as she now moves about to take it, and she lost it, saved by the English goalkeeper, and definitely England is on it again, and they just saved a penalty shoot. That was a very poor penalty. That's what you take.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the mental side of the game again. If you look at what Kat was doing, it's as a way of putting that mental pressure, you know, trying to disturb, say, oh, look, the ball is not in the right position. She needs to put the ball back, you know, going there, trying to be very aggressive. It's just as a way of playing that psychological effect. And I think it paid off, you know, having that kind of debate, and now with the goalkeeper saving. I just hope they did not watch for a review whether the feet of the keeper was on the line when she saved that ball as well. That's what I.
Now, well, the game has gone now. So basically, if at all the goalkeeper moved, I think it's a poor penalty. even though the goalkeeper was going to the right position at the right time.
Yeah, you see.
I think
So that's what I mean. So if a review was called, then the penalty would have been taken again, because the law says one of your feet needs to be on the line before the ball is contacted by the player. And in this case, it was not there. Look at the angle where she went and saved the ball. So it's good that a review had not been called for. But if one is called for, then it's going to be a penalty that they retake again. And let's wait.
The game has now got a different momentum, as England think now there's a possibility for them to come back on this game and have an equalizer, which will make a difference. But so far, so good. Spain is still composed, they're still in control, and they're knocking the ball around as comfortably as they can, as England is now trailing by 1-0. Well, I know you're all smiling, but you haven't told us exactly which country you're supporting in this match. You haven't said nothing.
Yeah. I had the same question with my son. He was just by me asking me, "Oh, which team are you supporting?" I said, "I'm for him. Any team he plays, that's the team I'm supporting." He said, "Oh no, you're not serious." So he left. But for me, I'm just.
No, you have to tell us what team you're supporting today.
No,
I am supporting Spain.
For me, I'm just here enjoying the fun. My team is Sierra Leone. If Sierra Leone is playing, I support Sierra Leone. If my son is playing, I support the team my son is playing for. If my daughter is playing, I support my daughter, the team she's playing for. So for now, my team is Sierra Leone. Bye-bye. See you.
All right, so thank you very much, Desmond, for that. I think 71 minutes of the match being played so far. We're still having England trailing by 1-0, as Spain have just missed the penalty, and we have a player injured, and she's been looked after by the pitch doctors. So this is a game that is yet to finish, and we still have about 28 minutes to play, as Spain is introducing another player who I think will make a difference. The number 5 player is warming up on the touchline, and number 14 is slightly, maybe going to be substituted, but we're not too sure yet whether she's going to be reintroduced back to the match. And I think so far so good. England is still trailing. Yes, I know, Marie, welcome. As you're saying, go England. Yes, I know there are many. Yes, the number 14 player is going to be replaced, definitely, by the number 5 player is going to take her position on the game. And we are now going to see a new player being introduced, as number 14 is being taken out for a slight knock, or possibly ankle or shin, or she might have pulled her muscles.
I do believe your fans are coming at you this morning or this afternoon, because they know you very well, and they know your stance, so they really don't want you to.
Oh, let them be, man. Let them be. I don't really have any problem with that. Again, you have to support what you believe in. That is exactly what we're doing here so far. As England is now on the attack again once more, are they going to make any difference? No, Spain is overcoming them in numbers, as they are defending in huge numbers. I know, Desmond, what you're saying, the fans are going to come at me, but it's all good, because, again, football is about supporting what you believe in. Like everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Tibo, what team do you support in England?" And I'm thinking, do I need to support Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, or Tottenham, or Chelsea? No, I have to support my local, and my local club is this. Do you know what this is? No, I bet you can't see. But this is what I support in England, and who knows what this is can determine what this is. This is Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
So that's when you see the team I support in England. Yeah, it shows how dedicated I am as a fan. I don't really look at big names. Supporting big names doesn't mean anything to me. It's about stressing yourself all day, and you don't get nothing back in return. As Spain is now on the attack, 1-on-1, Salma is on the ball, and she lost it to the England goalkeeper, who has been their savior so far in the match. As we have played 74 minutes of the match, and we are now looking at England possibly chasing this game on to get an equalizer and a possible winning goal. I'll be only pleased if James is going to score the winning goal. And yes, she may have complimented for her red card, and I would just about give her that, as she's now on the ball again, attacking once more for England, and England is going to have a cross. Yes, being taken all the way into the 18-yard box of Spain and cleared out by the Spanish defender. And the ball goes back straight into the legs of the English player. And James is calling for it. 1-on-1. Oh, over the crossbar, saved by the goalkeeper. What a strike by James. Unfortunately, the ball goes straight over the post and saved by the goalkeeper. That was a brilliant save. Thinking she's going to cross it over, she just chipped it over the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper made a brilliant save. Well done, James. And that was a brilliant save by the Spanish goalkeeper. She has done well so far. Before this particular save, she came out of her 18-yard box to head a ball that was just approaching the legs of the English striker, and she challenged it very well. Now, England is going to have a corner, and James is surrounded by so many Spanish players, including Salma, and Salma is going to stop her from getting this cross into the box. Yes, the ball came all the way back to the English striker as they now have the ball. Another cross into the 18-yard box. Yes, headed up by the Spainers, and Spain is in control of the ball as they're doing a counter-attack. It's 3-on-3, and it's going to be a long cross. What are you waiting for? Yes, they're blocking it into the midfield and back into the corner flank, and then maybe, just about maybe, they'll deliver the cross into the English 18-yard box. The ball goes out for a throw in favor of England. Desmond, let's go back to the match. What do you think of the match so far? Do you think England is going to be able to make it through?
Like I say, it's only finished when it's 90 minutes or 91 minutes. But as it stands now, England are really doing their best. I think the penalty save has actually brought some kind of hope. So it brought some kind of drive in the team again. And then, like we said earlier, the coming in of James has actually brought some dynamism in the team as well. And everything is now being centered around James. Everybody's trying to play the ball to her, and she's also moving freely as well. So
Salma has been yellow carded for an attack on the English defender, but I think that is a 50-50 chances anyway. She just pinned her down, and I don't think that was a foul. But anyway, she's been yellow carded for an attack on the English defender. But like you said, James has been highly influential since she was introduced in the second half. So continue.
And even now, if you look at her position now, she's now moved to the right-hand side. When she came, she was all the way the left-hand side there, cutting in to come and then make those crosses. But I think she's now in a favorite position where she can able to kick the ball very well. And if you look, she's more roaming in between the midfield and the flank as well. So, but the English team is not really giving up as well. They do believe they have the chance of really making it happening here. And an English player is on the floor as well. We see what's going to happen. I think that was one that what got a yellow card for as well. See blood oozing there as well. Let's wait and see.
I think they're paying more attention to her. They've got a couple of players on the sideline warming up. Possibly a possible change is going to be made. As we now have England trailing by 1-0, and Spain has been in control of the match, but the last 5 minutes has been in full control.
But I think the last 10 minutes of this match is going to be the deciding minute for this match as well. And let's hope and see what kind of change the English manager will make as well. Sina having conversation with James as well. What kind of pep talk she's giving there as well. And the Spanish players, captain and Maria also having conversation as well. So it's all built around now team intelligence. That's everybody's what's going to walk around. It's not going to be about how compatible you are anymore. It's about how intelligent the team is in the last 10 minutes. It's what is going to determine the winner at the end of the day. And mind you, with how confident these Spanish players are knocking the ball, I do believe the last 10 minutes is going to be more intense with keeping the ball in tight areas, making it feel more bigger and bigger to see that they just kill the time till the final whistle is sound.
Well,
Well, I can see that the English players are asking for a new jersey and new bottom for the player that is on the pitch, on the floor. I don't know what has been the problem for that, because
I think that's
maybe
blood.
I think something that she has collided. Oh, I think she hits her head on Salma's knee while Salma was raising her legs high to trap the ball in the air. I think that was just an accidental hit, and her head is now being wrapped with some bandage. Maybe she possibly had a cut on her head or a bump or something of the nature that is causing some serious distress for the team. And I can also see that they're calling for new top to be given to her. I don't know whether she's going to change on the pitch, as she has just been received a pair of shirts and jersey.
Probably the camera will be off. Let's wait and see.
Of course, definitely. The cameras are not going to be there right now. They've been very sensitive so far. Even when we had a big invasion, the camera did not show us any of that at all. They're not having it this time around. And I think, is she going to be substituted? I'm not too sure. She's going to be taken out. And
but she has been really doing well. She has actually played very well up to the time she got this injury. She has been really, really composed there as well. And let's wait and see what the final decision will be. And again, but this is where again this issue of acceptance is coming. If it is normal for us, the men, to take our shirt off on the pitch, what is wrong about women taking it off on the pitch when they have a bras already? They already have a bra that protects what everybody think is attractive. But this is where also this conversation keep going, and people do not tend to understand that we live now in a society where we just need to accept ourselves. We need to move from this orthodox way of seeing things and say, oh, okay, we the men, after the matches, we can take our best and then share it with each other. And at the end of the day, with the women, it's a kind of a whole challenge, and people people need to look at X, Y, and Z. Why must you do this? Why I can understand the pants as well. Most of the time, some of them do go with skin tight. So it's just in Italy, of course, it's a tradition there. The last match of the season, you see players go half naked, taking off everything and throwing it to their fans, because it's just a way of appreciating their fans. And with the female game, it's becoming more of a conversation, more of a debate, and people are picking what to do, what not to do. So I think the change has to be done in secret. See her leaving the pitch. So camera focusing more on the game now. But these are conversations that people don't want to have, and people don't want to get themselves engaged, because we're still fixed in our own way of thinking as Africans. Oh, it's a tradition, religion. Oh, you need to protect your body and all the rest of it. But I think the world is becoming more dynamic compared to how it used to be in the past, and people need to see things from a different perspective now to understand that it should not just be the men always that have the advantage or should have the say. I might be Desmond in my own world, and people listening, they might be on their own side as well. But this is how I see things as well.
Well, I kind of agree with you on that, Desmond. And what we have seen so far on the game is the fact that the game has changed and the tolerance in the game has improved greatly. As we've seen the first hijab player, Benzani, who plays for Morocco, representing one of the people who wear hijab and play football. So yes, there has been a lot of change in terms of attires and costumes, and changes that are meant to be made on the pitch or off the pitch are yet to be decisive in terms of what people should actually accept or not accept. Again, like you said, changes on the pitch for men is okay, but why would it be different for women? Again, it's the way they look at it. I don't know whether anybody is saying that that should not happen, but I think we should be able to focus on the ability of the players much so to do
than the gender parity.
Yes, just the gender balance. I think the gender should not be much of a focus, but at the end of the day, what you see most is the fact that I saw a picture a couple of weeks ago where a free kick was taken, and you have female players putting their hands in front of their there in front of themselves, and that actually made a huge headline. And I was thinking, why should that make a headline picture? Why should that picture go viral? Is it because of a woman putting her hands in front of a private part that would create the difference?
It's how we think. It's how we think, the men. It's how we think. We think more of ourselves and of our feelings than the reality of life. The essence why players put their hands before their pants is not to, even the men, it's not to protect their penis. It's because when your hand is moving, it automatically infringement in the game. So the only way you are able to keep your hand without moving is when you bring it down to what is before you. So it doesn't mean you're protecting what is hanging there. Normally, the pants we're using when we want to play are tight enough to protect our organs there. So if you see a woman putting the hand there, it's not because they want to protect what is there. They're doing it because it stops the hand from moving. And normally, this is what they look. This is what interprets the body language. If the hand is in action, so when it's there, it's difficult for it to move, because if you want to move it, then you definitely need to move with the whole body. But again, like I said, it's how we think sometimes about this nature, or when we see women, how our mind perceive what we see. It's why people are having conversations like that.
What is happening now?
What is happening now? Now, the referee running towards something, checking to see what is happening. I don't know whether it was anything to do with VAR. As we've now played 86 minutes of the second half or of the entire match so far, we're still having England trailing by 1-0 by Spain. Alan, I hear your comments. Definitely, I totally agree with you. That was a foul that you were possibly making mention against James. Yes, I think the referee was biased there. I think 2 fouls were played against James, and the player of that foul should be yellow carded because it was a deliberate foul as James was in full possession. Please continue to tell in your comments and response to what me and Desmond is talking about. Desmond is one of the most consistent civil union who lives in Holland, and at the same time moving the game so far in terms of people to be aware of what is happening with both female football and the men's game as well. I haven't been able to get him on board for all the other rest of the games that I was covering, based on the fact that we have a different timeline, and for the fact that today's a weekend, he's quite happy to join me as we talk about the final match of the tournament so far, as England is trailing by 1-0. 87 minutes of the match being played. We only have 3 minutes of the official time plus extra time to be added. We might see a 15 minutes extra time that is going to be added on this match. I won't be surprised, Desmond. What do you think about the extra time being added so far? Because in the past couple of games, the minimum extra time or the average extra time added to a match is about 8 minutes. What's your take?
Well, there is a new law that it's a kind of amendment in terms of this time wasting. That's why you see now we get a lot of this extra time that is being played, because every minute a player goes on the ground now, whether it's injury or for whatever reason, it's been calculated at the end of the day to sum up to the 90 minutes of the match. So the extra time that is coming in has to be roughly around the 7 or 8 we are getting. If it passed that, then it could have been something more serious that has to be harmful to the player that leads to that time being extended. Like for now, if we get 15 minutes of added time, I'll be surprised why we're getting 15 minutes, despite the player was on the floor, not very close to 5 or 6 minutes. But it's the referee discretion as well. And she has to watch, and the timer is there, they will determine. But probably I'm not saying it going that too far. But like I said, the last 10 minutes or so are the most crucial moments in the game. And you now see the English team is playing a two defensive situation where now they have 2 defenders and everybody's up front, and they've also made a change just now. And that person coming in was coming with a message as well, coming with different vibes, different energy. So let's wait and see if the connection will be there to actually put the Spanish team on the nerves.
And Spain is making the final change of the match so far. We may be going to see them lifting the trophy as we are now heading to the final few seconds of the official 90 minutes of the match being played so far, as they're taking a corner, which is going to be a decisive one as well. Oh, is just a corner being hit still in the half of the English, and Spain is in control. 13 minutes, just like I said earlier, 15 minutes of an extra time. We are going to have 13 minutes of an extra time being played. Is that not very close to what I was saying?
Yeah, but that's what I said. I'll be surprised if we get 15 minutes. So, and now we get less than that. I do understand why it's sum up to that. But again, every half and every segment, those stoppages are put together to actually give us the time. So I think that's what has resulted for us to get this 13 minutes. But mind you, this is where the team intelligence comes as well. Game management plans comes in. So at this moment, you're going to see the game change slightly from attacking minded towards more of possession. And the Spanish team are good at this one as well. So let's wait and see how they're going to do it. Whether they're going to be keen on still attacking, or they're just going to go back to the tiki-taka system where everybody has to touch the ball before anyone makes that move. You see? So
I agree with you on that, but I think the Spain is knocking the ball around. They are now attacking.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, another save by the English goalkeeper. I think English goalkeeper has been the savior for today's match by saving not just the penalty, but crucial saves against the Spanish defense. I mean, against the Spanish attack. And what she has done today has proven to be the best of her performance in this tournament so far. But England is still training.
She has been very phenomenal in this tournament, but it's not just this game. She has really, really been a good goal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, she has proven to be one of the best goalkeepers of the tournament.
I just hope I hope she might be contending for the goalkeeper hand glove at the end of the best goalkeeper of the tournament. If I did not see her name there, then
except if they want to compliment the England national team, yes, I totally agree. But most times he goes for the winning team as well.
Yeah, but it all depends on them. Okay, they have a very good defense today, but looking at the goals conceded in the preliminary round before this final, I think oh my goodness, yeah. So you see.
So, 2 minutes of the extra 13 minutes being played so far, as we now going to see a goal kick being taken by the English goalkeeper as he's knocking it around for England to build their attack. Kick straight into the midfield, blocked by Spain, and now Spain is on the attack once more as they have 3-on-3 against the English team. Oh, Salma just missed that. I don't think she was paying much attention to it. As she's back on the ball, Salma is very strong and agile. James is now in control. James is just a brilliant player, man. You can enjoy her moves. She's just so composed.
And don't forget, she's also from a footballing family, and the brother is the captain for Chelsea. So I do believe it's something that runs in their vein. But again, so listening to her story as well, it just tells you, we as parents, how we accommodate our children. You know, we have homes where you say this is a boy, this is a girl, you should not do X, Y, and Z because you are this, you are that. But she grew up in a home where she was just given her opportunity to play around with the boys, to play around with the football and her brother. So that instinct is what has helped her to develop in her game rapidly as well. And it's a kind of a competitive nature now. The brother is doing well, and she's also at Chelsea. They are all at the pyramid of their game, playing professional, living a very good life. So it's for us, it's how we describe our children, and the laws we put when growing them up is what I do believe that limits our kids to their potential, whether in sport or in education or whatever. But in Europe now, you know, like you see from the amateur setting, even at the professional now that I see girls playing with boys from under 12 at professional elite level. So it tells you, but when they go pro, it's definitely going to change. That guy will not be playing with the male, but we're definitely going to play with the female. And for here, you see it as well at the amateur level. You have girls who are playing with the boys, and when you reach the selective side of the amateur, that's the first team and second team, you see them drop to the first female team instead of continuing that pathway. So we're getting there, and here the tolerance is also something new. They think more better than how we think about women in society. I could remember growing up in Sierra Leone as well. I knew girls who were young. We all played football together. They were always around us. We went to the forest together. So at that time, we accepted it because we were playing. But now with this feminist thing going around, and this whole concept of how we perceive women in society is making it become a challenge as well for us as Africans to accept it as well. But so far, the game is still on, and it's a very exciting moment to see Spain for the very first time in this World Cup. But T-Boy, for me, I will not be surprised if they win this trophy, if they lift it at the end of the day. I will not be surprised.
Why?
Because when you look at their league, you look at the investment, football in Spain is a whole industry. It's a whole industry where you have production workers. You have people ready to produce players every time, right from the male to the senior category. So and it's a lifestyle for them there. So if at the end of the day they lift this trophy for the very first time, it's not something I'll be surprised at. You're looking at the competition rate between the male and the female in terms of viewership, in terms of investment, in terms of club infrastructure as well. It's huge. It's huge. So having a dynamic team like this, and again, you look at where they built from. This Johan Cruyff system of playing football that he took there has actually created a huge impact from all categories. That's why anybody coming in new to the Spanish football as a coach, you find it difficult to change that DNA it's in them, even in their clubs as well. You see, it's embedded in the system. It's embedded in their lives, in everything they do. So it's very difficult to change. And having them play this kind of dynamic football for the very first time in a female World Cup, it all boils down to the structural development they have in their country.
I totally agree with you on that.
I totally agree with you on that because again we've seen a huge amount of change in the English game, and I think a lot of investment has been put into it as well. And what we are possibly likely going to be faced with in the next couple of years to come is the fact that Europe is going to excel other countries in Europe is going to excel in female football because we've seen some of the great nations like Germany, Holland, France lost it slightly to all the smaller nation of footballing countries that are participating in the World Cup. So we are not going to see a huge difference in what is going to happen as Salma just hits the target and blocked by the English defender for a corner kick to be taken as we've just played 8 minutes of the extra 13 minutes of the match so far. Extra time. I know Mustafa is very anxious. Mustafa said even if they have 20 minutes, England is not going to win this match. I agree with you, Mustafa, because today I am determined for England not to win this match because there is no way we're going to have peace of mind if England win this. And again, to be selfish as well, if England win this match without the full participation of players of color, it means they don't need them. They are capable of doing it. They are capable of delivering. And why do you need players of colors, even though you might think they're skillful? But we still have a team that we can produce that can win the World Cup. Again, we see what happened a couple of years ago when England went to, I think it was the semi-final in the World Cup with a black coach who was also a player. And immediately after that World Cup, we saw a whole disarray of the team, and we had a lot of racist attack. Now, Spain has a corner with only 3 players in the box. How is that going to be possible? And they mixed it slightly. Can you imagine that? They only have 3 players in the box with 5 or 6 English defenders. So it means they are holding their bay and they're not moving any further to possibly attack anymore, as we've only have about 3.5 minutes.
But I told you, don't forget, I told you about game intelligence and game plan. So in football, this is where it's very important when it comes down to a moment like this. That's where you see your game plan. That's where you see your team intelligence. And this is now what is working. You see 3 players putting on pressure on 5 players that were in the English defense. So it tells you the level of intelligence. So everybody works within the system, works within the game plan. And at the end of the day, you see the execution from what we are seeing tells you they don't just go there to play.
But they have a plan. Only one player on the ball, so and he's going all the way.
So you see,
interesting.
You see,
sorry, there's
So, but that's it. It's all about the game intelligence and game plan that all the coaches are putting around their teams, and that's why if you look today, the game has become so dynamic that every aspect of the game is look at it talk from the scientific point of view, from what you eat, what you put on, the body weight. You have everything now to analyze what is happening around the pitch and also how players conduct themselves. So we're getting there, but like you said, the European countries will definitely be on top of us because we are getting behind. We are still behind. We are getting the not the latest technology anymore, but we are getting the leftover.
We're not even getting leftover technology of the game, because if you say leftover, it means we're getting things that are possibly 5 years possibly old, but we're getting things that are 15 years backward. So we're not even getting anywhere. We're not even getting any of the remnants of the European facilities that we have. We still don't have pitches to play. So what remnants are we really getting? We're not getting nothing. The remnant that we have is still what we don't have. As Salma is on the ball now, lost it to won the game. Salma has so much energy, man.
Because if you look at, like I said, we are lacking behind the technology. Now this game is playing. You have more than 15 to 20 coaches in each of these national teams, and each of these 15 to 20 coaches had their roles and responsibility. While the game is playing, you have a football analyst there who sits there watching the game on an iPad and printing all the documents, analyzing every player's position and situation where you find yourself, and also coming up with data how many times you touch the ball. So, and these softwares are out there, but the problem is the people on the pitch who are implementing it. You see, the game is live, but you have people, their job is just to watch the screen before them, to analyze what is going to be next, what's going to be the opponent next decision, what plans are they going to take. But it's all boils around the education.
We only have a few more seconds to go for the remaining extra 13 minutes of the match being played, as we are now seeing Spain definitely going to lift this World Cup for the first time in their history, as they are now playing the few seconds of the 13 minutes.
But again, in Europe, are we surprised that we have Spain and England playing in the final? Looking at the league structure, we have the Spanish league and the English league that are now the most watched league around the world, investment-wise. It used to be the Italian league, and but Italian league is no longer there as it used to be. So now we have the English league and the Spanish league actually at the pyramid of
18 minutes gone, few more seconds to go, Desmond.
So what we're seeing today is a recipe of what is happening in their leagues as well, you know?
Yes, we know.
Yeah,
we know their league has improved a lot over the years, but I think what has also happened is the dedication to the game. Because if you are dedicated to the game and you're not just playing football for fun, it means a lot has to change. Now England is taking their final throw, as we've now played 13 minutes, 41 seconds of the match.
So what will be next? My question to you is, what will be next for the fate of the English coach?
Is it a corner being awarded? What
will be the fate of the English coach? What will be the fate of the English coach? Is she going to stay there? She's my sister by country because I live in her country as well. She's my sister from the Netherlands.
Final corner
to be taken, and it goes all the way into the hands of the goalkeeper, and I think that's it for England. And that's it for England. I know Desmond, you are. Yes, the whistle is blown, and the final whistle has gone. Spain is the world champion of the World Female World Cup in Australia, as England has lost 1-0 to Spain. I just want to say this, and I am not saying it out of any malice for grudge, but I think I'm pleased that Spain has become the world champion of female football. 2023 hosted in Australia and New Zealand. I know, Desmond, you're not happy with me, but sorry.
No, look, it's your opinion, it's your right. For me, it's what I do is, like I said, I do support Sierra Leone. Whether they lose, they play, they don't play, I support, because what I've seen over time in my life around the world, all what we see is because of these people put premium on themselves, they put value on themselves. That's why people buy season tickets. Like for now, we are struggling. Look, I watched the game yesterday. Bo Rangers, for the very first time, we have a CAF Champions qualifiers playing, and we're playing at home in the region. Very first time as a kind of stadium like that. Look at how the stadium was. So that just tells you that there is a lot we need to do for people to understand that football is business. Like now, this league that is going on this 2023-24 season in Holland, half of all the clubs, their season tickets is sold. Half of them season ticket is sold.
So Desmond, what will be the outcome for African teams to be able to do better in the later stages of national tournaments like this?
Let's invest in our leagues. Let's invest in our leagues. Let's invest in the junior development, and let's have a category where, like what we see in the European setting, you have all the teams that are playing in the European Champions League. You have the junior side from under 12 to under 23 playing in the Champions League segment that they have. You come to the UEFA, you have also the same from under 12 to under 23. So this is also what we need to have in Africa. We need to have where we see, like now, those that are playing the CAF Champions League, we also need to have the same system where you have under 12 to under 23 playing their own CAF Champions League qualifiers as well. And the same goes around with the female, and then have the club structure as well. Like now, what we see happening at the clubs, you have under 12 to under 23 as well. So we want to see this same system continue around, and at the end of the day, that development, not all those kids who are in those professional settings will be professional at the end of the day, but at least those who fit to represent the country will bring something to the table to help develop the country football image.
All right, thank you very much, Desmond.
All right, thank you very much, Desmond, for that. I totally agree with you on so many of those suggestions, but I think also what we need to do is to get the right people in the right position to be able to manage the game as well, because what we have in Sierra Leone as a nation, not just in Africa, but I think in Sierra Leone specifically, we always have the wrong people who are supposed to be managing the structures of the game itself. And what we've seen in Europe is the fact that most European countries, like you said earlier on, most of these players have the potential to be able to live on their own. They have the potential to be able to feed themselves. They have the potential to be able to gain employment without relying on anybody to give them their support. But they still complain about fair share of the game's financial benefits, which I think they also should deserve. But what we haven't seen in Sierra Leone or in some African setting is the fact that the structures are not there. Some countries in the Southern Hemisphere are trying as much as possible. Because, for example, in South Africa, we have the Kosovo League, who is actually bringing together a couple of countries within that region to be able to participate competitively every season. And that is what we lack in West Africa. But that is slowly coming on board, because we've seen a couple of tournaments being put together in places like Equatorial Guinea for the past couple of months. And I think Sierra Leone participated in that, even though we did not win any game. But it's good for the girls as well. But what we can now see is the fact that a lot of money has been poured into female football, but we yet to see African countries coming forward to represent. We've seen the likes of 4 countries participating in this World Cup, and for me, it is a very big success for the African teams that are participating in this particular World Cup, for us to have 3 of the 4 countries to go to the round of 16. And again, we have Nigeria, who made it all the way, but lost to England for the quarterfinals for the first time. But maybe, hopefully, likely next World Cup, we'll be able to see more African teams that will come across, and possibly with the experience of this tournament, they might be able to go to the next level, which I think will have improved the game. What we've seen so far is the fact that African countries have done extremely well. They have the potential, they have the skills, they have players who plays in Europe or in other parts of the world that might make a huge difference on the game. But what we have seen is the fact that encouragement hasn't been coming through that much. The people who are responsible for the game are holding on to the financial benefit of it. They are not encouraging the young girls from the grassroots level. The structures of the game is not being played from the level that you mentioned on the 12, on the 14s, and on the 16s, and then on the 21s. We have yet to see those tournaments being taken place in Africa. For Sierra Leone, it's no go, no go. We're definitely not going to be able to see that anytime soon, because it doesn't matter whether we have a female minister of sports, it will still make no difference. We have Aisha, who was the president of SLFA for almost 2 terms, but we still see nothing. Nothing happens at all. It was just the same old thing. So the representation is not just by gender. The representation should be the people who are actually seeking interest to make the game grow, not just seeking their own personal interest. So what we've seen so far is the fact that much hasn't been put into making sure that people get the best out of what FIFA is sponsoring towards female football in Sierra Leone. So we are going to struggle to see a lot of differences that is going to happen, especially in Sierra Leone. And when I watched the WAFCON last year, it was a great difference to see other African countries, West Africa countries, Senegal. Senegal had a very brilliant team, and these guys were young. And you can tell these guys have come from a very early age of playing football, and they are doing extremely well. And even when we get to a couple of tournaments coming up, Senegal is actually providing more quality players than others. I think they are inexperienced, that I will say for sure, but you can see the potential in them making a difference within the next couple of years, because they will have grown into the game, and possibly most of them are playing their professional game in Europe. I'm not too sure where exactly. It's something that we need to find out. But for Europe, I think the change of European countries actually making a difference in the game has shifted from the Germany, Holland, France, and other nations within that region to now the other chapter of Spain and a few more others. We've seen New Zealand, who possibly performed well as well, but they were not able to break through. Of course, Australia has possibly one of the best players in the world, and she actually performed very well. But we've seen a huge change. The South Americans used to have a very good size, and we've seen Brazil struggle. Marta has finally played a final game of World Cup so far. She might not play any role in the World Cup on the pitch anymore, but I think she's going to be one of the biggest ambassadors to female football in the world. We've seen the likes of the American team, who possibly are going to lose a huge amount of old players, possibly the youngest team so far to participate in this tournament, with very young players who have been introduced into the squad. So they had to build that squad again, because they used to have a very old team that has been together for more than 20 years. And that team is slowly dissolving and introducing new players to come in. So that is the amount of changes that we've seen so far in the game. And those amounts of changes have made a huge difference in the world level of female competition. Now we've seen that change. What are we going to do as Africans to actually make our own change become very, very much more productive for the African countries? Is to participate in the league. But Des, can I ask you one question? Are you looking forward to have a female football team in Sierra Leone? I know you're hugely involved in growing the game from grassroots with the boys. Are you also having the grassroots football of girls as well, alongside grassroots football of male football?
Yeah, I have already one that we're working on, that we've been working on in McKinney. That's in New Jersey, back of the hospital. These are young girls who just fall in love with the game, and what we are doing now, we've just provided them the opportunity to really express themselves with the equipment and what they need. And we found a very dynamic young lady there who really, really wants to break the cycle. So we're going to educate her, we're going to provide her good football education, and to see that she reached the top where she wants to be in her game as well. But at elite level, I don't have yet a team, and I'm not even thinking of having a team at elite level, because if I want to have one, then I need to be there to see the day-to-day running of things, because the problem we have about these teams in Sierra Leone is the day-to-day running as well. Like for now, league finished, and when the league finished, I knew teams who've not called any meeting to engage the teams that okay, the season has finished, we did very well. X, Y, and Z was where we got things wrong. And you guys are going holiday for this time and this time. We've resumed this time and this time. I've not seen that. So it's a challenge as well. So if I want to have a team, I want to be there myself. I want to put my hands on deck and see that what I see that is missing, I bring it. I'm in dialogue with so many of the teams, providing my expert knowledge behind the scenes to them. But our country, when you want to support, people always say, "Oh, where are you coming from? What do you know? You think you know better thing." But so sometimes that's why I just sit on the fence, go to the grassroots, look at kids who are really, really.
I think we should be tired of sitting on the fence, Desmond, because we've been sitting on the fence for quite a long time now, and I think what we need to do as people who are involved in the game is to get ourselves involved, either physically or these people should know that we cannot just sit back and because we live in the diaspora, so we should not have any influence in actually making certain changes in civilians
Well,
when it comes to
what I mean sitting back in a sense is those who are to pass on the message to the kids, they don't believe what you're telling them. So they always see you coming in as taking their position, or you want to be authoritative to them. So for me, that's why I'm more focused on the grassroots and the amateur side, where I develop players that can go to teams and teams that have value for them, and then they can play around, and then I can trace their development and see how far they come in life as well. But I'm also more focused on their education, because I've seen so many of them now playing football in the country. They've not gone to school that far, and after football, they cannot even take care of themselves. They still live with their parents, struggling to earn and they're living. So for me, it's also about how can I just support them from that grassroots, see them go to university at a very early age, 18, 19, 20. They should have finished their university, and from 19, 20 now, they could play wherever they want to play around the world if given the opportunity. So this is how I see, because those who started the game, people like Mansour Hila, she died, and she's called Melvina. She died miserably in Sierra Leone, losing everything. The game she gave everything for was not there for her. And so many of our colleagues as well are across the country perishing. The game they gave everything for has never been there for them, and authorities have never been there to support them. I do understand not that the authority should not do everything for you, but again, if we don't provide them the platform to get education that they can navigate with their life with at the end of the day, it's become a challenge, and this is where my focus is as well.
All right, thank you very much,
Thank you very much, Desmond, for that. And I think those contributions can be meaningful one day to the people of Sierra Leone when it comes to developing the game to the grass, from the grass level to the elite section of it. And I also know that you're going to be engaging in training coaches in Sierra Leone, which I think you have done over the past couple of years. But you're now looking at it from a different angle. What sort of angles are you looking at it from this point in time as you want to create more impact in the knowledge-based trainers for them to be able to execute what they have learned so far?
Well, we're looking at from an angle where we want to change the narrative, because I was in the country quite recently. I went to some area, I spoke to some grassroots coaches who are just coaching the game, who've never had education about it. And I realized from the conversation I have with them, that some of them are coaching because they've been coached by somebody who had not been coached educationally. So you can play the game and coach, but if you've not been coached educationally, what revolves around the game, players' development, um, from early age, how they process knowledge, how they interact in the game, how do you tailor development to them, then it becomes a problem. Because I was there, I saw children running across the pitch for hours and hours, and then I had to ask the trainer, why were they running? He said because the place is cold, it was raining, so as a result of that, that's why he had to let the boys run so their body would be warm. But I'm like, wait a minute, they are running without the ball, so how can they develop their skills? If you want them to run, why just keep them jogging? Why not give them the ball so they can be dribbling in a very tight area? You can make 20 by 10 by 10 or 20 by 20. Say, okay, 10 by 10, you dribble there small, and then when you hear the whistle, you go wide, so you have more space to make decisions that you want to make in the game. And he was like, oh, but I'm coaching because of this is how my coach coached me. They did not tell me this is the kind of education I get. So that's why I thought, you know what? And again, a lot of other regions across the country, we've been following our model, and all of them have requested that, look, we don't just want you to limit your work in one side of the country. Can you reach our own area as well? So that's why now we've gone to 8 areas, probably the whole country. So just imagine if you are in Kabbalah, Mongo, or whatever, you have the opportunity of coming to Makeni to participate there at your own cost. You pay your transportation. You only pay 100,000. That 100,000 you're paying is for your lunch and then whatever you get at the end of the day. So if you are, let's say you are within Freetown, Lunge is the headquarters. So you'll be coming all the way to Lunge, which means you just need to get the ferry and come there for probably 2 days, get proper education, because we are also thinking of bringing experts outside Sierra Leone who've been in the game for years. They've walked around Africa, they have knowledge, and Sierra Leoneans who've also been in the West, they've studied, they have the knowledge, but they will not be going with us to Sierra Leone, but they will be doing an online presentation, and they will also be interacting with the guys through a live session that we'll create for them. So we're going all across the country. If you are in Kailaun, let's say you are in Daru, Zimi, around the border, it's easy for you to come to Kailaun because that's the center where we'll be conducting our training as well. If you are in Kenema as well, you are in Pujon, it's easy for you to come to Bo. So at the end of the day, we're targeting everywhere. And why we're doing this, because the Sierra Leone Football Association cannot reach all these coaches. The district can try their level best, but they cannot be able to do what we're trying to do. So we want to also complement their efforts. So where they cannot reach is where we're coming in to say, okay, you build your own capacity, but we are also building a capacity that will tailor around the same development you people are driving towards. But for us, what is key is how educated these coaches are and how the children are also going to perceive the same education the coaches are getting. So that's why our approach is football 20%, education is 80%. We want to see our kids go to university, come back, don't just contribute by playing the game, but also being proper administrators. Like in our program, we have a 23-year-old who is now a barrister. This is somebody I was like lashing with my hand to come to the pitch now. So if I want to talk to that person, I'll take my time, because he's at the highest point in life that I don't even think I'll be there. He's a barrister. Therefore, I'll call him by his name, but now I'll call him barrister. And this is what we're looking at for. We want to build people that can come to the society already prepared for what they are faced, what society will face to them. So this is where we are coming in. We want to really, really engage the coaches, talk to people. Dialogue sessions are going behind the scene. We're talking to administrators. That's why we're not just coming with this training because we want to do them or because we have the opportunity. We've done our research, we've done our feasibility study, we've done a pilot phase of training that actually prepared us to do what we're doing now. So it's going to be a huge one for us as well. It's going to be a challenging period, but also we're giving opportunity to women in society who have the education, the expertise, but society not value them. Think of Victoria Conte. She is one of the first female players who played the game in Sierra Leone, but she had never received anything just for playing the game. She had gone to get education. She became a coach. She's now the only female instructor that is certified by CAF in Sierra Leone. So, and she's there, she's fading away, but her knowledge is not really being harnessed by society. So she's the leading facilitator, and she's leading the technical department of our work in Sierra Leone. She'll be there. We want to see that her work goes beyond Freetown. We want her legacy to be there, that even when she died, people will be there to say, oh, this is what we achieved. I could remember when we were in Kono, we asked questions to some of the coaches, why are you coming to get coaches education instead of just going and coach the guys? Said, oh no, I'm here to see Victoria Conte. That's what one of them said. He said, I've heard about her. I've heard she was the first female player and she's the coach. She's coaching the male side, but I want to see her and have a picture with her. So that's what we want to build on. We want to bring people in society who people might say, look, I don't just want to be the resemblance of that person, but I want to have a legacy from her. So she's leading our department, and I was in the country. We had a meeting with her. She had surgery on her leg, and I was there to see how the leg is doing, whether she'll be fit to travel across the country. She said, "Look, I'm ready for it. This is my life. I'm up and ready to go." So this is what we're creating in society. We want to give opportunity to Sierra Leoneans who had the knowledge, but the platform has not been created for them. This is what we're doing, and we are open up to sponsorship. We're open up for partnership. If you're out there, you're listening to us, you see the need to come. This is a Sierra Leone drive. And now what we realize over time, the West is not ready to support us anymore. They said we see on social media how you guys are living.
I'm going to slightly cut you off there, as Salma has been recognized as the best youngest player of the tournament so far. Like I said earlier on, she has broken grounds on every single aspect of this game. And you can see the lineup of the people who are on the delegation. You have Cleverly, who is the foreign minister for the UK, a Sierra Leonean connected individual. Salma is now going to the podium, who is the first person to receive an award for this particular tournament as the best young player award.
But this is also the opportunity we're talking about, T-Boy. That's the opportunity.
Like the goalkeeper is possibly the best goalkeeper of the tournament. Yes, England goalkeeper Mary won the goalkeeper trophy award. I think she deserves the Golden Gloves. And
I told you that she's gonna take it.
Hands with Cleverly, who is the foreign secretary for the UK. Now, she's just won the Golden Gloves, and definitely she deserves it. Her performance today was great, and she deserves it very much. And she's now the Golden Gloves goalkeeper, and who is going to be the next award-winning participants is the Golden Ball Award is won by Atalanta. Atalanta won the highest goal scorer of the tournament as the Golden Ball Award winner, and she's definitely picking up her trophy now as she's having her own form of handshake with all the delegates that are here today to witness this Female World Cup final as the ceremony is just about to be completed. Yes, Spain has won 2 tournaments so far, and this one is the Golden Ball Award, won by them again, and definitely she deserves it, and she has done everything possible to be in the position that she is. You now see the 2 winners, and Salma has gone off, and we have the Golden Gloves and the Golden Goal winners on the podium taking a group photograph. Are they still going to be waiting on the side, or they're going out of the side, or going out of the pitch totally entirely, as this World Cup ceremony is just about to end? So yes, Desmond, I hear you. All what you've said so far has made so much sense, and I think the game has to be encouraged to that highest level, and we're now having the officiating referees and all the people who are responsible for the decision that has been made in the game so far are now lining up for their own recognition, as in the pitch side referees, the VAR team, and everybody who has been responsible for giving out the results of this match on the pitch and off the pitch are now on the podium to receive their own medals. And it is very much interesting to be part of this. And I remember when I used to play football, going up on the podium to collect your trophy is what I always loved. And that is the reason why I stopped playing, because I stopped winning. There's no point to play football. There's one now, you laugh. Why are you laughing at me? There's no point to play football if you know.
You said you stopped playing football, so that's why I'm laughing. I'm not laughing because you play, because you stopped playing football.
I only stopped playing because I'm not winning nothing anymore. Because when you don't win anything, you don't get paid. It makes no sense to play. Because what we want to do is to play football and win medals. If you don't get the money, then you get the medals. I have a shirt. The medals behind me right now are medals that I won a couple of years ago in football. And those are like championship medals in South American football that I used to play, and also in the local leagues that I played for in London. So I don't just play football, I play football as well. And I have won lots of trophies. I've got a whole shelf full of trophies, and those trophies are won by myself. Some of them was for highest goal scorer. Some of them were awards given to me for best player or certain tournaments. Some of them were leagues that we won at the Southern Sunday Football League in the UK. And some of them are the Blossom Cup that we won a couple of times and we lost a couple of times as well. Some of them are South American Championship Football League that I used to play for in Clapham. So I have played some lot of football in the UK, although I was stopped playing football in Sierra Leone just because they thought it was nothing good for people like us growing up in those early years, and everybody wanted to go to school as our parents are more focused in education than actually football. But yes, I have some records, and I am proud of those records, and I know for sure those records are going to serve as a living testimony of my participation in the game. And so far, so good. I have involved also in not just supporting the game, but also participating myself, as I am an approved CAF photographer and media practitioner, and I've been attending CAF major competitions like the African Nations Cup for both male and female. And I'm looking forward to go to the next one in Ivory Coast. Are you coming?
Let us see how things go. It could be a busy period as well because I'm navigating through professional and elite football. My son he has a busy schedule, so most of the times we had to travel around. So it's kind of a huge on me. And if I leave, most of the times the burden is on the mother as well. She also have her own things to catch up on. So I'm gonna see how it works as well.
Okay, England is now on the
podium collecting their medal. As Silsil was asking, what's the score now? The score is 1-0 to Spain, and Spain has won the World Cup. They are now about to receive their medals, as we have the England as the runner-up coming on the podium to receive their medals for the great game. They've lost to Spain, who has proven to be the best team of the tournament and possibly the best team for this particular finals today. And they have made all the chances. They took their chances in the first half, and they've managed to keep that goal until they have a penalty that they missed. And James is now just collecting her medal, as you have a few more two players at the back, and you have the coach who has done extremely well, even though her position as a coach for her team selection has been controversial in my own opinion, but I think she did everything possible. She has done well so far to take this England team to the final, not just for the first time, but also they are the European champions. And that is extremely a good record for starter. And I think that record will remain to be unbroken, except otherwise. But if she tries to continue with the team that she has built so far, it will be great. But I think there should be some amount of inclusion of players of colors that will complement the entire team. It is a shame to see a whole 21 or 22 man team of the English team, and you only have two players of mixed heritage that are representing the fullest. I think it would be nice to have a couple of more players of color that will make a huge difference for a nation that is so much inclusive in terms of ethnic minorities, and also community cohesion, and also bringing into play the fact that we live in a cosmopolitan country and we should have a mixture of colored players and Caucasian players in any representation that is going to be a national one. So we now have the Spanish team coming on the podium to collect their medals. As we can now see, they are collecting their gold medals for being the champions of the World Cup of 2023, hosted in Australia and New Zealand, and now won by Spain. For the first time, they're coming into the semi-finals of this World Cup. For the first time, they are making it to the World Cup final. And for the first time, they are winning the World Cup tournament just about, not just about really. They're winning the World Cup for the first time. And this is going to be a record-breaking World Cup for a country that has gone to the semi-final and final and winning it all in one go. As you have Salma kissing the trophy as she go past after collecting her medal. Desmond, what will be your message for the African country that has gone to this World Cup, and especially for Sierra Leone that hasn't been able to make it to even the WAFCON of the female game? What will be your message to them?
Invest rightly in the game, and put more, and let it be player-centered approach instead of executive-centered approach. The infrastructures will come, but if you don't build the capacity of people, how would you build infrastructures? Because these infrastructures are run by human beings. So these human beings also have to have the education of running those infrastructures, maintaining them, that at the end of the day, they will last long and people will have access of using them. So this is where we need to spend more. We need to actually focus on developing, catching them young, as we say always, but how serious are we catching them young? Are we really spending like in the under 12, in the under 13, under 14? Do we really put more premium on them? Do we make that stage more exciting? Because that's where it starts. If that stage is not exciting, going up to the top level will also be a challenge. For example, look at what is happening here. You have a government representative, decision makers around the globe attending the finals, staying in the podium there. So it tells you the economical value that it brings and also the social value as well. So if at this stage, this is what we see. Why can't African leaders as well see the need of investing in developing sport, developing sportsmen, instead of just developing in fighting wars or spending on ammunition or building houses? For instance, look like what Kenya have done with athletics. They built a whole athletics village where now host Europeans for training camps. Yes, they now go there to go study. They now go there to go do research. People go discover the DNA of Kenyan. How come they are winning those long races? They are winning, and it's a blueprint they've already set and center stage of athletics. So how can other African leaders build on these things as well? Because when you build these facilities, you stop the area of drugs taking, you stop the area of early teenage pregnancy, you stop the problem of dropout, because you have recreational center where people are sent to go study the sport, not only participate in it, but to go study and become elite going forward tomorrow. So this is where we need to spend as a country. For us, Sierra Leone, we lack those recreational facilities. There's not enough space. Everybody wants to build a house. Everybody wants to build a mansion. Nobody's thinking of building a recreational.
All right, Desmond, I have to break it very quickly for you, because as we now have Infantino, who is handing over the World Cup winning trophy to the Spain captain, and she's going to do her due diligence and lift the cup up as the celebration goes on with the fireworks that is blazing all over Australia right now, as it is 2 o'clock approaching, 20 minutes to UK time, and definitely Spain is now officially the world female champion of female football. Congratulations to Spain, and congratulations to all the hard work that they've put in place over the past couple of years, as England is standing by watching the flamboyance of the fireworks and all the golden petals falling all over the air and falling on top of their heads and underneath their feet, as they watch closely as Spain celebrates as the winner of the female World Cup 2023 champions in Australia. So as you were saying this, you were coming towards the end of your conclusion on some of the advices, and you were talking about what is needed to be done. Let me go back over to you again, as we're going to be wrapping up anytime soon.
Yeah,
I have an announcement to make before the end of the game, because we're going to be seeing another level of football tournaments that is going to be played today, the final between the veterans in the UK. I've always been putting together a couple of weeks tournaments, and that tournament's final is today, and we are definitely going to show the final on the pitch side, which I'm going to be in the next couple of hours. And I don't know if I'll be able to get you back on board on that.
Well, let's
But
see.
I'll try and see if I can catch you on that one
Yeah,
as well.
let's see how it
That
goes.
one is local, and that involves our local players who possibly have played professional games in Europe, but also coming together and making sure that they made their own contribution in changing the game. So over to you, Des. Mems is just joining us, and Mems, welcome once more. And I will not say welcome and goodbye, but maybe you'll be able to join us later on as we have the veterans playing their finals this afternoon, UK time, possibly 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the evening. Over to you, Desmond, as you're wrapping up.
No, for me, like I said, we just need to go back and build recreational facilities. And that's the job of a government to create the environment for investors to come in as well. So if we can create the environment, the enabling environment, and provide the resources, I do believe you have people who really want to invest in the game. Like for now, look at what we're trying to achieve in Sierra Leone. We're in discussion with football developers around the world that are willing to travel with us to Sierra Leone. So we're just looking at what we need to put together to take them there. And these are people who could add value to the development of our education and sports as well across Africa and the world. So these are things we need. If you take people where these facilities are not, then the question begs on how serious are you guys for really what you're doing? So you see, but for us, it's always a win-win situation. We take people so people can see the real story of what we talk about, and they can now analyze where they are coming in for to help and support what we are doing. But it's been great. I am having time to sit with you today for quite a very long time. I've been off the media, and you managed to get me here today. So thank you very much. Hopefully,
And it's a pleasure to have you. It's been very much challenging to get you on board, especially coming back from Freetown after your bereaved, and we extend our sympathy and condolences to you once more for all that sort of struggle that you've been through, going to Freetown and making sure that you did what you had to do for the loss of your mom. But definitely, as part of somebody who has been making meaningful contribution towards football, it will not be nice to not have you on this particular platform, especially when we're talking about female football in Sierra Leone, which I think you've made huge contribution towards. So thank you very much once more.
But also to you, T-Boy, before you go, thank you also for visiting me in Sierra Leone. You and I were there. It was raining, you made it possible to come around and see me, and it was amazing. I really, really appreciate it. We meet in Cambia, rain the boat grown. T-Boy Chacha Motoga come for coming to me. Don't not be able to go now because of the rain.
From Wada village.
Yes. From Mambolo, from Rokupu to Cambia. It was amazing, man. I was so happy. And this is what the sports mean, Through this, we will meet and we will share concern and love to each other during difficult times. It's amazing. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And to the team, your colleague have been visit me together right now. Thank you very much for that visit. That was a churching one. It is the pain and the burden around me as well,
Thank you very much. That's what one can do.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we actually met in person. Not even in Freetown, but in civilian, all the way to Cambia. It was a renowned moment, especially for the fact that I was there when you were going through difficult times, and not just in happy times. That we've been talking on the phone, we've been on a couple of programs online, but that was the first time for us to see each other. And when I called you, when I saw the message, and I was like, "Where are you?" So I'm in Sierra Leone. I'm like, "Wow, okay. What's happening? Where are you?" He said, "You're in Cambia." That's when I'll be in Cambia. And I bet you were shocked when I said I'll be in Cambia.
Yeah, I was really shocked. Man. But it's good.
But it was very great to see you there, and I think we did manage to possibly see again. But I was now going back again to go to Guinea, where I traveled from. But I think it was a great pleasure to meet you in person, and I have planned to come to the Hollands for quite a couple of times now. But I think I will still come.
But for me, I'm happy that you see me in Sierra Leone, because now Baba Sheikh will not be bragging anymore of meeting you in London and all the rest. So
yes,
me and you, we met in Sierra Leone, so that's the good part of it.
True. Yeah. When I saw him in London, it was a video as well. Somebody died who was living in London, in Holland, and she only came to the UK a couple of years ago, and she passed away. may her soul rest in peace. And
Yeah.
it was when he saw me, he was like, I know you. I'm like, yes, I know you very well. Oh, this is Steve Boy. And he took a picture
Yeah.
of me and him and sent it to you.
Yeah,
And I was
keep
like,
mocking
oh.
me. Oh, I see your man. I met with your man. I said, okay, don't worry. One day I'll meet my man too.
It's just a pleasure to see each other. After we spend lots of time online without seeing each other, and then for the first time we're bumping into each other, I think it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's like when we walk down the roads or streets of London, we bump into people who possibly have seen us a lot online,
Yeah.
and they'll turn around and say, "Oh, thank you guys for the good work that you're doing. We appreciate you guys so much, and well done for what you've done so far. And I think you guys are keeping us busy online. I think it's just amazing that you see people who really appreciate what you do and they feel proud of who you are in person.
Yeah.
And some time ago, I bumped into somebody and she just heard the name T-Boy, and she turned around. I know you. I'm like, yes, from where? I don't even argue. He said, I thought you was this giant, your name is so big.
I'm like, are you disappointed?
I'm like, are you disappointed?
There's a lady I met along my Banta highway. It was late, 10 o'clock in the evening. And then she was standing waiting for a bike, and then we were walking on the feet. And then she said, my Facebook friend Desmond. I was like, wait a minute. What? I said, oh, yeah. So it was really nice. Sometimes people come at us, but sometimes we also have people who do appreciate and are happy to have us in their midst.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, T-Boy. And let's see how the veteran game go. Maybe we'll see. Never know.
All right, thank you very much, Desmond. Thank you for keeping you for the past couple of hours, and I know for sure you're going to be taking a break now and go and do some of your house shows. You need to put food here.
No, well,
so
I think I go na market quickly. I go get some African baby. I can cook. Family don't go swim. They want let me say go swim, but I don't avoid them, so I can't run now. So they need something to go surprise them. They learn a house.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, man.
See you again.
Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, bye bye.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
Right, that was Desmond Payne.
Contribute so much in the game, and he don't live all in life supporting sports in Sierra Leone, not just football, but he was also a tennis player, and he don't do a lot. He don't try for push the game to the people of Sierra Leone, both in the diaspora and also in Sierra Leone. So I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to everybody that has been joining us today. And the first person to join us was Prince from all the way from Zambia, the southern hemisphere of Africa, and also Adama, who also joined us from Freetown. And we have a couple of more people we don't join we from Freetown, from Nigeria, and from all over the world, just to listen to our commentary and what thing we get for talk about the game and the participation of other African countries them into the game, and also what African countries can do to make the game better in the continent. Well, the World Cup is officially over today. The celebration continues in Spain, and we are coming back home in a sorrow and in a sad state. But again, we should not be that much upset, because I think England's achievement in this tournament has been great, and they are the European champions. And for them to come into the World Cup and get all the way to the final, I think is a remarkable result for the English game. And the coach has proven to be possibly one of the best in the continent so far, and that's exactly what she has done to take her team to the final of the European Champions and winning it, and also coming into the World Cup and taking the team all the way to the final. There has been an amount of controversy in her team selection, but I think that is yet for the people who are responsible for the game to take it to another level to see how they can bring in more inclusive team lineup. So far so good. We've seen this game has chosen and given us a huge amount of quality young players so far, and we've seen a huge change in the game of how the game has evolved in other European countries and also in other African countries. The South Americans, who has been possibly one of the greatest nations in female football, has gone down the chain of quality players to now players, possibly individual players now instead of collective players as a team. And we've also seen Asia, possibly China also used to have a very good team. South Korea used to have a very good team. And the Asians also have been providing or producing quality national team in the World Cup. And now we've seen Europeans dominating the World Cup so far, and we have seen a huge amount of change in the European countries that are making a difference. Spain has qualified for the first time into the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the final of the World Cup, and winning it for the first time, going all the way through with the help and support of Salma, who actually took them to the semifinals and also who actually took them to the finals of the World Cup. And we've seen her being recognized today as the best young player of the tournament. We can't say much, we can't do much, we cannot challenge that decision because we've seen her ability as a young player, not just in football, but also in athletics. But we're now looking forward to what the female game is going to do to the rest of the continent, especially in Africa, as there has been so much challenges and controversy in terms of what the game should be like, in terms of financial compensation, and in terms of creating the game all the way back to the grassroots level so that we can have a huge amount of development of young players who will be able to come through as national representation. We also have to look into Europe, look into the diaspora, and see what sort of influence that the Europeans who, well, the Africans who were born in Europe or in the diaspora that can come over and be part of their representation for their country of either birth of their parents or country of origin. Again, we've seen Salma, who was also a national of Equatorial Guinea. She still should have had the potential to play for Equatorial Guinea, but she chooses to play for Spain. I don't see any reason why she shouldn't do that because again, I don't see Equatorial Guinea coming across in terms of making any difference in female football. But again, we cannot defer that, but we can also see what are some of the advantages for her to represent Spain than her representing Equatorial Guinea, especially no Guinea-Bissau, especially when it comes to female football. So that's the challenge that we're going to be faced with. But we have a huge amount of African players of African heritage who were born in Europe that can represent their country of origin either by their parents. But we don't know whether that is going to be possible because of the country of origin that they are from is not actually doing well in female football. But for the men's game, anything is possible. You can make it to the African Nations Cup. You can make it possibly to the World Cup, depending on the potential of European-based players that you have from your country. So we are yet to see that change to occur, and if it does happen, it will be great and beneficial to the continent. But I want to say thank you for all those that have been following the World Cup as we've been commenting on the game so far. And I want to appreciate you all for your contributions on Facebook and YouTube, especially Mr. Walker, who has been dedicated to watch almost all the games that we were showcasing on online. Thank you very much, Mr. Walker, for all that your contribution that you've been giving to us as one of the people who is following us all the way through doing this tournament for the games that we've been showcasing online. I know it's very difficult to just listen to commentary, but you have made it possible to be one of the dedicated member of our Facebook and YouTube page that has been following us all the way through. I want to say thank you to everybody for your comments, and please don't forget to join us. We might be back on again within the next couple of hours for another local tournament final, which is taking place today in the UK by the veterans of Sierra Leone in a final summer league that they put together with local clubs and local teams coming together by forming themselves into smaller groups and playing a tournament. And today is going to be the final, and we're yet to see who are going to be the finalists when the game kick off anytime in the next couple of hours, maybe 4 o'clock UK time or slightly below or after 4 o'clock UK time. So thank you once more, and don't forget to drive safe. If you're going home, don't forget to be safe wherever you are. The sun seems to be out today in the UK, and it's just about 8 minutes to 2 UK time, and we are looking forward to the rest of the day. If you have time to go to the beach, please do so. If you have time to stay home and have a barbecue around your garden, please do so. If you don't have a garden but have a balcony, spend some time at your balcony and chill. Have some fun if you can, and don't shy away from the sun. The sun is not hot. It is hotter in Sierra Leone, where we are from, than it is in the UK. So make use of it as much as you can, because you now all know how much it costs to go to Sierra Leone. It's not a child's play anymore. So summer in Sierra Leone is inevitable by people like some people. I will not say people like us, because we're trying very hard to be in Sierra Leone at least once a year. Why some people are still struggling because they have a whole family to go with. We do have families as well, but sometimes we just possibly taking the chances by going alone because of work duties. So please spend as much time as you can. Summer holidays is going to end soon. Make sure you are with the kids at any given point in time that you have the opportunity to do so, because it's only one time of the summer that you might have that time to spend with your kids and family. So make use of it, as I'm going to be in the park in the next couple of hours to continue with football, as the veterans are having their finals this afternoon in the UK. So thank you very much once more. On behalf of the Sierra Leone media team, I want to say thank you to them for all their support and contribution behind the scenes. And we hope to see you guys anytime soon this afternoon as the World Cup has ended. And congratulations to Spain, and congratulations to Salma, who did not only take her team to the World Cup final, but make sure that they won the World Cup, and she won the title of being the best young player of the tournament. So thank you once more, and welcome home, England. Unfortunately, you were not able to make it to win the World Cup for the first time in the history of the football, of the women's football, but hopefully you might have a chance to do it in the next World Cup to come. So congratulations once more for all that hard work, and we hope that you guys can come back strong and get to the grips of winning the World Cup for the first time, which hasn't happened. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for all your support, and I will say goodbye and see you back again soon.